more on the Road Anthony, and it's going to be really cool. We're going to work more on the terraforming aspect, as you will be able to tell. We got a ton of stuff to work on. So last time we left off, we built from about right here in terraforming. So this is about like, I don't know, about 9 or 6, like maybe like 14 miles of space, and we brought it all the way down to about right here in this area right here. So today we're going to like bring this whole area down a lot more and then get the basic outline, and then later, as we build the roads and stuff, we will add grass and trees and different variations of vegetation. And that's what we're going to work on today. So I'll pull up a podcast and we'll get right to it. It's a nice relaxing stream.
G'day. Welcome back to the Misfits podcast, rated 5 stars on iTunes by Connor193657119. He says, "You guys are the best podcast hosts ever, and you are all incredible YouTubers." Connor, I love it when you lie to us in the iTunes.
What the fuck?
reviews.
Yeah, what was
that?
that?
That was too wholesome.
God, I love
Yeah.
it.
Sounds fake.
It
So,
was actually nice.
so wholesome,
I don't
but
think
obviously
Connor exists.
so incredibly untrue. I'm pretty sure that half of these reviews are just Manager Ryan trying to just make us feel better.
It is bots. Oh, hello.
Oh no! Wait.
Whoa.
Oh,
What the?
Whoa!
It's a glitch in the
have to
system.
Discord.
Did we
Yeah.
glitch out?
Oh
We
my
good?
god.
All right.
What the fuck?
Off to a good start. I'm joined today by my glitchy co-hosts, Jay, aka McCreamy.
What's going on? Hi.
Matt's here too.
Oi, oi.
Oi, Toby's here.
Hi.
Hi. And Swagger Souls himself.
We pimp
is here as
chimpin'.
well.
How are you?
Pimp chimpin'. It's another week here in Melbourne. As you guys know, we've been going through a pretty tremendous lockdown situation due to COVID-19. Times have been boring. There hasn't been a lot of content, but today we have a couple of stories for you revolving
What's
around
up, Tower? Welcome
some
to the
magic
stream.
mushrooms
How you
that we've
doing?
been eating recently.
Mm-hmm.
Both
Whoa.
myself
Doing good?
and Swagger Souls here.
Psilocybin.
So yeah.
Oh my god.
Psilocybin. And yeah, had some fun little experiences. So I guess we'll kind of tell the story of how
Yeah.
shit happened. Starting with
We should
Trippy and
probably,
Swagger had
yeah,
it.
we should probably start with a
Yeah.
preface as well, similar to what we did with acid, just so like our bases are covered and we're not liable for any little retard that's like, I want to take magic mushrooms, and then they eat like too much and then think they're a
Yeah.
glass of orange juice. So I guess I guess we could just kind of talk about. So we had magic mushrooms in total. I think it was about, was it like something like a quarter ounce? So like 7 grams.
I
8
had like
grams?
I bought like 7 grams came through. And yeah, I was like the Swagger like, yo, let's fucking eat some.
How much is that? Like, if you were to hold it in your hand,
Yeah.
how much is that?
It was.
It's
it
like a
was-
handful. Like cupped
yeah,
hands,
it
it
was
would be just
pretty-
like, it was dry shrooms.
Yeah,
just
it's
kinda
dried. No
Oh,
water
okay,
weight.
yeah. Okay.
cap stems and like little shroom dust as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, 7 grams is
Yeah.
way too much to have on your own.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
heroic dose. I wouldn't recommend 7 grams to anyone unless they're really
Yeah.
experienced. But even then, I don't even think I would recommend 7 grams.
Okay, if that's a
Um,
heroic
yeah.
dose, what would a legendary dose be?
True.
Probably like 12 or 15.
Do
Okay.
people do that much? They
Yeah,
must. They
well,
must
I'm
be
sure
people who
there's
just
some
chill.
fucking
Oh.
hippie out in New Mexico just chowing down on shrooms every day.
What
So,
the
you
That's
know,
crazy.
just like
yeah.
there's fucking people out there that'll eat an entire sheet of acid.
Mhm.
Which is a sheet?
Yeah,
Those
That's
fucking
fucked.
morons.
much is
There's
a
people
sheet?
that do things. A sheet is like
A
fucking
sheet?
like fuck, dude. I'm not even sure. I
It's
guess
like
you Google
12
it.
by 12 tabs or something like that. Like, I don't even know how many.
It'd be ridiculous. It'd be like a
I know someone that
ridiculous-
had a sheet
ridiculous
once.
amount.
How do you
They
not
had
just
a
like
sheet.
die after that? What the fuck?
In Auckland, there's a bus that just drives around and it's free. It's
Yeah.
because it has such a short route.
Mhm.
And I knew someone who took a sheet of them and just sat on that bus for like 24 hours.
Holy
And they just
shit.
sat
God.
there watching as they were going on this really short cycle.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
That's-
sounds honestly terrible, but maybe it was fun for them.
Maybe
Who
it
knows?
was awesome. I mean, you're on enough acid. I guess you just yeah, anything is an adventure.
yeah.
You
but
have to
I
be careful
guess-
with psychedelics because they can just
Yeah.
completely knock you on your ass, and like honestly, you can have some really bad times if you,
Yeah,
if
you
do
could-
too much,
you
or if
could
you do
put
it when you're in a
yourself-
bad place.
You could put yourself in
Yeah.
a psychosis very easily if you don't know what you're doing. You know,
Yeah,
like obviously
It's all
for the
about-
basis of all trips, because it's very similar to how LSD works. Basically, you eat mushrooms, and then there's psilocybin, which is the psychoactive ingredient, and it's broken down in your stomach into a chemical known as psilocin. And then that goes into your brain, and that fires your serotonin receptors, et cetera, et cetera. I'm
Ah, yes,
paraphrasing
yes.
here because the science is a
But-
lot more
yeah.
complicated. But
Yeah.
but it works essentially the same way that LSD does, in that it gives you an insane serotonin rush. So you'll
Mhm.
see, waving, warping of walls, like moving
Just
stuff,
connections in your brain just firing. You're just
Yeah.
fucking so much happening, and so yeah, sound changes, visuals change, like you see crazy shapes.
Yeah,
and it's wild. Basically, it's fucking completely.
it could be
that shit, so-
very, very insane. Now, again,
So yeah,
yeah, I don't recommend you take any psychedelics until, like, you're well into your 20s. Your brain's still developing. Try not to fuck it up, kids. Just stick to underage drinking. Like, come on.
it's terrible advice.
Well, they're gonna do something.
I'm
At least
kidding,
fucking,
I'm
at least
kidding.
drink a beer, right? Drink
Yeah,
some,
yeah.
drink some Mike's Hard Lemonade. Stay the fuck away from acid and shrooms until like you're in college. Would it make sense, right?
Yeah, I'd recommend kind of like having a good understanding of yourself, and also just
Yeah.
making sure that if you are going to partake, that you start with a little, not a lot.
Yeah,
And
it's
that you
very small.
Pay very
amount.
close. Yeah, that you pay very close attention to set and setting and the people
Yeah.
you're with, because that obviously like completely changes everything.
Yeah.
Like your experience really will vary based on the
Yeah,
environment
so
you're in.
set
who
and
you're
And have a
with.
setting
trip sitter.
is have a trip
Trip
sitter
sitter helps, yeah.
especially. With set and setting, it's important that there's your set, which is your mindset. So is it a good idea to take acid after I aced my tests and passed and I got into college and
Yes, right.
like things are looking up for me? Like, sure. But is it a good idea to take acid if my entire family died in a car crash a week ago? No.
Yes.
Like
Oh.
it's not.
Probably
It's
not.
not. Like obviously
mean,
your
yeah, it's-
mindset like really matters. And definitely like will play a huge factor in whatever psychedelic trip you go on. And then there's the setting. Are you taking this? Are you going out camping and then chowing down on shrooms at like 11 p.m. in the middle of the woods? Probably not a good idea.
Monkey
Without a trip sitter.
But
Like,
also,
probably not a good
also
idea.
like it depends. Like obviously, if you're a first time, but like I think like if you have experience with them and you know yourself well, you can have still beneficial trips even when you're going through maybe a difficult time, or if you are I guess it just varies. But I think it's very much just
Yeah.
about knowing yourself, knowing like what you're getting yourself into, and if it's your first time fucking with psychedelics, just start small. Like you might as well just have a little bit, see how you feel, like
Yeah.
so you don't get overwhelmed and have like a PTSD inducing
Yeah,
experience.
it's
So, yeah.
better. It's better to have your trip be underwhelming than overwhelming, like 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah,
So-
I mean that's the basic advice. There's really make sure you don't take anything serotonergic like acid or shrooms if you're on SSRIs, like antidepressants, that kind of thing, because then you can get serotonin syndrome and die, and that is
Wait, what's that?
Fuck, dude.
Is that just like you don't have any more, or-
It's like literally
it's-
overdosing on serotonin.
Yeah,
pretty much.
What the fuck?
It does some fuck shit to your brain. I'm not exactly sure the science of it, but that's from what I'm aware. If you're
Yeah.
on SSRIs, which is serotonin something
Selective
inhibitors,
serotonin reuptake inhibitors.
right? Yeah. So if you're on those, you definitely want to make sure you're not fucking with acid or shrooms, just for your
Shit.
own safety. Do research. Be proactive about it. But what we're about to tell you isn't an endorsement, and it's definitely not a call to action for any of you guys to go out and eat some magic mushrooms, right? This is just our experience. We thought it was interesting. We thought we'd share it, and yeah, I guess that's enough of the preface.
Warning.
Yeah.
These are trained professionals.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, anyway, me and Swagger, like, I was like to Swagger, well, how much do you think we should do? Swagger recommended, just
Like
just over 2 grams each, of these dried mushrooms. So yeah, we like waited for a sunny day and then head over to Swagger's. I headed over to Swagger's house with the mushrooms. Very excited, very like interested, a little nervous because I hadn't done a psychedelic since we tripped acid, like
Same
a year
here.
and a half ago. I mean, almost 2 years. Is it more than 2 years ago now? I'm like,
It'd be
fucking
2.5 years now.
Holy shit! So
Fuck
it's kind of
me.
wild that we haven't actually dabbled in anything else since then. But yeah, I was very excited. We go over. It's around 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Beautiful day. And yeah, we measure up the shrooms.
Yeah.
Which is a little iffy. The scale was kind of a little iffy, but
Yeah,
we got
it was a bit weird.
to a place
We
where
probably
we're
took
like, okay,
we
like
probably took over 2 grams, just a bit from.
Oh,
yeah, I'd
naughty.
say it was like
Yeah.
probably between 2 and 2.2. I actually looked up on a calculator. You can look up like a shroom dosage calculator, and
It
puts in
goes
your
off
height
your-
and your body weight.
your BMI.
And it recommends like what dose you should take. My recommended dose was actually 2.8. But I was like, look, like I'll do what you're doing.
Yeah.
We'll do 2.2, whatever it is, and we'll see how we go. So we order a pizza, and
Mhm.
we sprinkle the shrooms on the pizza.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, what the
Mushroom
fuck?
pizza.
And
Yeah.
Mushroom
Then you-
pizza.
because the
fold
shrooms
it
taste,
in on
they're
itself.
gross, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mushrooms
Oh,
are.
shit.
Not
It's
very
just
good.
like it's shit crackers, right? It's like saltines that have been like put in cow shit, essentially. It's not- it doesn't
Ew.
taste
Not-
really good. So what
not
you do
good
is you
tasting.
get a pizza, you sprinkle it in a slice, you fold the slice in half like a calzone, you eat it. It
That's
tastes
so
good,
funny.
and-
That's so
and it
funny.
digests with the pizza, and then you're good.
Yeah. So yeah, we eat them. It's pretty bearable meal. Slice of pizza covered in mushrooms. And yeah, I remember just sitting on the couch with our trip sitter, and waiting. It's that waiting feeling of, oh, we've just eaten a substance that's gonna, take us on a little
Yeah.
ride here. What's gonna happen? I remember like feeling really excited, a little bit nervous. And it started kicking in pretty quick, huh?
You
Like,
get
pretty quick. I'd
yeah,
say.
like 20, 30 minutes. You feel this
Shit.
tightness. You feel a tightness in your gut, like right in your
Yeah.
stomach. This like excited butterfly, very tight feeling, and then it starts moving up your body, and like you start feeling yourself like entering this psychedelic headspace. With the thing with shrooms, like with acid, you take acid, and then the excitement turns into like this delirium, where like you have this energy, like you can't stop clenching, you're shaking, you're like
Yeah.
you're bzz, 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 and just
I,
going.
I would compare it like acid to it, almost to MDMA, like
Yeah.
in a way, for that euphoric, like high intensity, like rush of a come up. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
But
Shrooms was
with
kind of different though. It
Shrooms
was more
was a lot like
light.
you get that pit in your stomach. It's moving through your body, and then you feel really drunk. You start feeling really drunk, like very disoriented, very dizzy.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah, and like giggly too. Like I felt
giggly,
really
yeah.
quite giggly. Yeah. Just laughing at things, just like, oh, here we go, like kind of just feeling silly. And yeah, you actually had a rough come up, didn't you?
Oh, I had a very
Swagger.
rough come up. One thing that happens a lot with shrooms, very common, a common symptom, is that you'll get very dizzy and it might upset your stomach. So what happens when you're
yikes.
dizzy and your stomach gets upset? You have to throw up. And so,
Oh, But you
I
wouldn't want
I
to, right?
was feeling really sick. Probably a good 45 minutes to an hour into this like come up, and I was like, and I remember being on the couch, and Fitz was like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "I'm gonna munt." And so he was like, "Oh, okay." The trip sitter was like, "Oh, all right, you're right." And I was like, "No, I'm fine. Like, I just got to go to the bathroom and throw up." So I went to the bathroom, and I'm throwing up in the toilet, and I'm spinning, and I'm fucking going, I'm closing
What
my
the
eyes, and I'm
fuck?
seeing shit, and I'm like fucking, oh shit. And I am throwing up for like a solid 15 minutes. And I'm throwing up to the
Yeah,
point
me-
where like I'm throwing up nothing. Like my
Oh,
body
God.
is just lurching.
Fuck
I got stuck in this cycle of like I need to throw up. Like I'm still dizzy. I still feel bad. My body, because the body's natural reaction to like eating a mushroom and then feeling weird and like disoriented is to throw it up because the body
Yeah.
thinks it's poison. And so
Yeah, when you take ayahuasca, right? Don't they just
Yeah.
like puke for an hour?
oh,
pretty
they
much?
puke
Like,
for
they just-
ages.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
quote unquote
Does-
purging.
Does puking get rid of the mushrooms like a fix at all?
well,
or-
I no. Well, the thing is, I threw up a really decent amount of the shrooms. I maybe threw up probably a gram, so I probably threw
Right.
up like half the take. But the thing is, like,
Right.
a lot of it was already digested, and there was already psilocin going in. There was still
Right,
some
right,
in
right.
my stomach.
Yeah.
And I was getting
Well-
to a point where I'm just over the toilet and I'm just tripping balls. My eyes are closed, like I'm throwing up. I see these patterns, these fucking like. It was crazy. It was basically like a bunch of waves, like strings that were like going like a waveform, and they were all stacked on top of each other, and then they were twisting into knots. And then along these strings was like this pulsating, checkered like glow, like these lights that were just kind of sprinkling across, and it just kept warping and twisting and going in and then fading out and then going really
Holy
close and then
shit.
going out and then fucking twisting and unwinding, and it was very intense, which just made me want to throw up more. And it got
The
to
entire
the point.
time that's
Hey, go ahead.
the entire time that Swagger's in the bathroom throwing up, I'm obviously on my come up as well.
Yeah.
And I was weirdly undistressed by the situation because
Yeah.
I'm just in Swagger's home, like on his couch. We put on these visuals on the TV of like basically a like 4K forest walkthrough where you're just
Yeah.
like it's like a steady cam just going on this beautiful nature walk. And I'm kind of just like looking at this and listening to like psychedelic rock and just enjoying some music. And in the background, all I hear is and I'm like tripping dick myself. So I'm kind of thinking like, oh no, is that going to be me? Am I going to throw up? And I was like, whatever happens, happens. Like,
Yeah,
I remember just feeling at peace with whatever was going to come my way. I've already
Yeah.
eaten them.
That's crazy.
I was feeling
Yeah.
giggly and drunk.
How
I was
the
like
fuck
walking
do you
around,
do
like
that?
looking outside, like whoa, like, and kind of like looking at the trip sitter, while Swagger's puking, we can just hear the noises, and I'm just like, haha, like, it's pretty funny. Like, it's just kind of like
Yeah,
laughing.
I heard
laughing
them
at
laughing
Swagger's
in the
pain.
other room, and I'm tripping, and I'm hearing them laugh, and I'm like, well, I guess somebody's like, at least taking some joy out of the suffering. So like that made me feel actually a little
Yeah.
bit better.
Yeah,
I
then,
think
then I
I-
remember feeling like quite worried and like empathetic towards you,
Yeah.
and that's when I kind of started checking on you and sitting
Yeah,
down on the
you,
floor next to you while
you
were
and the
there.
trip sitter, you guys came by. The trip sitter actually
Yeah.
poured a glass of milk because I told her, basically, one thing to note is that, I don't know whether or not this is really grounded in fact, or if this is just an urban legend that I heard and then believed and then tried. But basically, say somebody is on a lot of shrooms and they're freaking the fuck out. They took way too much and they're freaking out on their come up, and they want it to end. You just get a glass of whole milk and you have them drink it, and apparently, I think it's like the lactic acid or something in the milk will neutralize the psilocybin so that it isn't processed into psilocin, so that you don't get any more high. And then at that point, your come down like starts. Like that's the peak, that's the cutoff. So then
Right.
it's just a slow roll down. So she got me milk,
He
and I
needs
was like,
some milk.
"That's exactly what that's from." Because there was a guy who was tripping on
Oh,
shrooms, and the girl
yeah.
was like, "He needs some milk. He needs some milk."
Oh shit! What the
Yeah,
fuck?
so
He
apparently
needs some milk.
that's where that comes from. I don't know if that's entirely true. There's a chance it could be wrong. I'm sure anyone can just fucking fact check it. But
It's worth a shot, though.
it was
hey,
worth
like,
a
just
shot, and
drink the
either
milk.
way, like
Why not?
in my mind, I figured, well, it might work, and so I don't know if it was the placebo that calmed me down, or if it actually worked, but I drank it, and I was just kind of stable for like a good 10, 15 minutes, and like I remember getting up out of the bathroom, flushing the toilet, walking into the living room. Cam, the trip sitter there, they look at me. And they go, okay, well, what do you want to do? And then I just looked at them and I go, oh, yeah, I'm going to munt. I just went right back into the bathroom and I fucking threw up again. I threw up for
Sounds
like another
awesome.
10, 15 minutes. And then
And-
Cam
yeah.
walks into this room. We actually, before we started tripping, I picked him up and we took his amazing, like this giant keyboard that he has, the synthesizer, and his speaker setup, and we brought it into one of my rooms and we set it up in anticipation for the trip, so we could like fuck around with all the sounds while we're
Make
like
noise.
gagging.
That's so funny.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, Cam is in the other room as I'm puking, and he's playing music. He's playing like a little ditty for me, and you know, and I'm just like, I have nothing left to puke. Like, I'm just sitting there, very dizzy, like closing my eyes, crazy visuals. Like, I feel like I can't move, and then I'm having a hard time focusing on anything, and it was getting to a point where like my thoughts were getting very intrusive, like to the point where I would have a thought that was like, this was a mistake. Like, I shouldn't have taken these shrooms. This is horrible. This isn't good. And it was a lot of negativity. And I was like, okay, well, I need to nip that in the bud, because, like, nothing good comes from, like, having stupid
Spiraling.
anxiety and spiraling.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I started, like, countermeasuring it. Like, okay, well, regardless of whether or not it was a good idea, it doesn't matter. Like, all I know is that I'm in it, and that in an hour I'm going to feel like $1 million and I'll be fine. And so I was just, you know, wrestling with these thoughts and just like looking everywhere and looking really fucking out of it. And the trip sitter goes like, oh, do you hear the music? Listen to the music. And I started listening to Cam play the piano, and it fucking snapped me out of it. I just started focusing
I
on the
didn't even know
piano and
That's so
all
cool.
the music, and it was impacting my visuals when my eyes were closed. And then I was just like, at a moment of peace. And then I finally, for the last time, crawled out of the bathroom and stopped throwing up. And then the trip continued.
And then I remember you're walking out.
I need
and
a
was
month.
like, how are you feeling? And you're like, I feel good. And you're like, kind of like, I feel great. And then it was like a weight had been lifted, not only on you but on me, because I was starting to like really get worried that my entire trip you would be like in pain, and I would, you know, I wasn't feeling like so much of the intensity I think that you were. Probably
rough.
because I, you know, probably just because like, you know, it might have been a small dose for my like size. I have no idea.
You had eaten
But
earlier.
it was still
that
intense.
day, didn't
Like,
you? You had eaten breakfast.
yeah,
right?
I had eaten earlier that day.
Yeah,
too.
I hadn't eaten
Yeah.
anything until the shrooms.
Yeah,
So I
it was
think
your
that's
yeah.
probably
Bad
it.
idea. But yeah, then you were kind of good, and then it
I was
just kinda
great.
Like,
I felt like $1 million.
yeah,
I was
and
happy. I
then
was
we were just
giggly. it was
enjoying the
in it.
music. We had like, you had like a blanket wrapped around you. Like, textures looked so interesting. Like this, I kept looking at this like, blanket with sloths on it you had had wrapped around you, and
My
your couch,
grandma
like,
gave
everything.
my grandma gave me that blanket. She thought the sloths were monkeys. Just kind of sweet.
That's funny.
All the fabrics looked just amazing. Like, everything was kind of breathing and warping, and like shrooms gives everything this kind of organic feel where everything looks like, I don't know, like something more natural, like wavy, leafy.
It looks like it's
wrinkly.
alive.
It looks like it's alive. The TV, which had this 4K
That was fucking
nature walk,
crazy.
looks like exactly how you see it in
Like
what is it?
simulation.
The Google
Like
Google
Deep
Dream AI or whatever
Yeah,
it's
the
called.
Deep Dream AI. You know where like it
Like
turns
the leaves are
images
purple,
into
and you
dogs?
see.
Yeah. Is that actually
Yeah.
what happens?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's like not
Or,
just for dogs.
But
Like-
yeah.
Yeah, the MGMT When You Die music video actually really portrays it well as well, and just in that kind of
Yes.
like rainbow effect where everything looks like colors are so saturated. You're very interested in like light sources in particular. I remember Swagger has this like kitchen with a window with a like slit in it, which has kind of got this like natural sunlight flooding through, and like kind of like put a glow on the countertop. And I just kept walking over to that and being
He
really
kept going
interested
over
in it.
like
Like,
putting
wow.
his hand on the counter, and then he'd
Oh,
look
that's so
over at me and
funny.
turn his head. He'd go like this. He'd go, dude,
you seen this shit?
are you seeing this? This light right here? This is fucking crazy. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's so
Yeah.
cool. And then we go over and I'd like smack the counter.
And then
Yeah.
We sat out on the grass for a bit.
Yeah,
in
in
the
my
sunshine.
backyard. We lied down in the
little
grass for
lawn.
like a solid 10 minutes. It's kind of
Holy
hung out.
shit.
Yeah,
We just
yeah, and
we
there was this
chatted.
guy mowing the lawns or whacking the weeds next door. It had this really
Yeah.
like mechanical sound, which was kind of scary. And then we were like, okay, let's go back inside.
Did you go into
what
VR at
else?
all?
Oh no, we
Didn't
didn't.
even go into
We
VR.
didn't go into
no,
VR.
we didn't. Fuck.
We were a little
we
bit
should've done that, but-
distracted.
Yeah,
we,
fair.
we, we,
Yeah.
we,
We were just like children.
yeah,
Like,
dude, we were making our
just-
own fun, dude. We were sitting in like my smoke area, the house by the backyard, And
Yeah.
then like we stand up and like we started like competing in vertical leaps. So like I would try to jump as high as I could, and he would try to jump as high as he could. And like we
Shit.
kept trying to
We look
see
so
like
stupid.
how high we could jump,
The-
and that became like a running gag the entire trip. We would
Yeah.
just do like these.
The trip
vertical
sitter
leaps.
took some sneaky videos of us, and one of the things that she captured was like just me and Swagger in the backyard. Swagger randomly just goes, "Yo, double high five me." And he just puts both his hands like this, and then we go this, and like we hit one hand, but the other one misses, and we just look so goofy and silly.
Oh
It's
my
like
god, I
hilarious.
want to see that
Yeah,
so
it was pretty
bad.
good. It was a lot of. It was a really decent trip because after like I
Yeah,
had
it
the
was
milk,
calm.
like I guess I was on a come down, or
Yeah.
like I had passed
Mm.
my peak or whatever. But the come down was really pleasant. We had a ton of fruit. We'd ordered a ton. I ordered
was
a
so
ton
good.
of fruit in like anticipation because I know that whenever I'm on shrooms or like acid or anything, I don't want anything salty or dry. Like I don't want anything that's savory or meaty because like when you're on something like that, especially shrooms, like my taste, my sense of taste was really strong. I was still tasting
Yeah,
like
and-
vomit and milk in my mouth for like a solid
Ew.
hour, and it was just really unpleasant. So I decided
Mhm.
like, all right, well let's break out the fruit. So we cut up some watermelon. We had strawberries. We had raspberries. We had an assortment of fruit, and I
Yeah,
remember
which just
like
tasted so amazing.
just nibbling. Like I have a raspberry and like I take a little bite out of it. I had like 1/8 of a raspberry and like taste it, and it would be so fucking strong. And I'd just be like, holy shit, I can't even finish this. And I put it down. An
What
eighth of
the
a fucking
fuck?
raspberry.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
just
funny.
kind of overwhelming. What else do we do? I mean, music was amazing. We sort of just walked around looking at like you just become captivated by those strangest
Everything.
things. Like there was just like Swagger's like it's these gray curtains, like completely uninteresting when you're sober. But when I was on shrooms, I was like, wow, that's so incredible. Like, or like looking in like a blank corner of the room, and it's like, holy shit, that shit is moving and like warping and breathing. Like just looking at he's got this dish scrubber which looks almost like a mushroom in itself. It has a
He
suction
kept
cup on
fucking
the
playing with
end.
it. He kept like attaching
It's
it to the
Just,
side
like,
of my
sticking it to the
counter.
wall and like going blah, 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 with it.
That's funny
And
as
yeah, we
fuck.
just sort of had this nice time. We played the keyboard together, where like
That was
me and
awesome.
Swagger have this system where if you only play on the black keys of the keyboard, then kind of you can make anything sound musical. Like it's because it's all as one scale. It all kind of sounds good together. So like I would go on the bass and then he would do a melody, or we'd switch around, and it's a good synthesizer. So you can just scan through like
Yeah.
a million effects that just sound weird and like buzzy and cool. So that was really fun. And yeah, and then like towards the when we were fully on the come down, still getting like visuals, still definitely high, we decided to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Um,
Walk around
and we
around a
stepped-
park.
Yeah, stepped into the outside and went for a stroll. And yeah, we found this park. and
Yeah, I
started
was very
walking
hyped
through
to
it.
do it. I was like, oh my
Adventure.
god, to walk on shrooms, like this is gonna be epic. And then I realized, like,
Yeah.
oh, we have to wear fucking masks, and that kind of put a
Yeah.
bummer
Oh,
on me
yeah.
because, like,
Yeah,
I
but
was like, this
it's
is
probably
fucking
for the
over.
best because when we were walking through the park, really enjoying the scenery, it was.
It was a beautiful
evening, like,
day. It was a nice park. There was a
Yeah.
bunch of people out. There was like families sitting down.
Children playing
on
yeah.
like towels, having picnics. Kids were playing on the playground. There were a couple of kids playing footy, like just chucking a footy around. And so we're walking
Mhm.
like right through the park, and like we're walking. We're almost at like the end of the trail, ready to chuck a Yui and go around the outer and then leave. And this guy who has a football in his hand, he looks up and then he looks at Cam and he goes, "Fitz? Is that Fitz?"
No.
And then
No.
and Fitz turns his head.
I'm
he
like
goes,
wearing this like colorful like shroomy shirt and like a bucket hat. I'm like I obviously stand out like a sore thumb, and next to me he's like so clearly Swagger. So I was wearing his merch.
I'm wearing
He's
this
like, "Oh,
this
Fitz,
shit.
is
So-
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
monkey.
Oh, Fitz, is that you?
I
And I'm
mean-
like immediately, oh no, I hope Swagger doesn't start freaking out because like his face and everything. But you were wearing.
I
a
was
mask,
wearing a
so I kinda
mask,
just turned-
so like I mean,
Yeah.
it makes me more recognizable if whatever. But either way, I mean, I wasn't too concerned because the guy had a football in his hands, and like I was like, well, there's no cause for concern if like he doesn't have his phone out and he's not fucking taking a picture. So I was just like,
Yeah,
all right,
so-
well, I'm just not going to talk. I'm just going to look at him, and then
And I just turned to him and I'm just like, hey mate, yeah, we're actually on shrooms right now, so we're just gonna keep walking. And he's like, oh okay, love you guys podcast. So,
yeah, he's like, hey, I love the podcast.
So-
But Cam says that like pretty loud. He like kind of like yells it over to him.
Oh
And
my
to our-
god!
Did
To
I?
our right
I didn't
is
even
a-
know I said it loud.
To our right is a family, a fucking family sitting on,
No
sitting on a
way!
towel. And so,
It's funny as
yeah,
fuck.
like as
didn't even know I said it
turned,
loud.
like I put my hood up in case he did want to sneak a picture or whatever. But as we were leaving,
Yeah.
he said like, "Hey Toby, like cool to see like you're back in Australia or something like that." Like he he called me Toby.
What?
He thought I was Toby. I think it's because I have blonde hair right now and it's really long.
Maybe.
So
Yeah.
I guess he thought I was Toby. So
Interesting. I didn't even hear that.
yeah, I
The walk in the
caught
park was lovely, man. Like it
was a
just
beautiful
so nice,
walk.
like looking at flowers and leaves and kind of touching things as we walked. And
Yeah, we
Very
would
calming, very,
walk
like-
like 10 steps and then we'd be like, "Yo, look at that fucking tree," and then we'd just stop in our tracks and like look at it, and then we'd be like, "Oh man, it's a
Yeah.
nice tree," and then we'd just walk another 10
nice,
steps,
yeah.
be like, "Oh, dude, check this out! Like, look at this plant."
yeah,
And we'd look at the plant, and we'd, it was repeat until we went back home.
yeah.
Holy
and then we went back
shit.
home, and by this point, like we were well on the come down, I think.
Yeah.
And, yeah. We
watched
cooked.
the
We
tree-
made a hella
Yeah.
fresh meal.
We
Which is fun, although we couldn't eat too much of it.
Bowl, right?
Yeah.
What
Which
the
we had
fuck?
like I think 4 spoonfuls of each, and
Yeah,
they were
dude,
like, this
we
tastes
had like
like a
3 or
little, like,
4
mush.
bites each, and then we were like, "Nah, this is too much."
yeah. But it was really fun cooking. Like we were so clearly just like still fucked. Like
Yeah,
how do I
fucked up.
chop a carrot again? And yeah, then we watched the Truman Show. We
Truman
smoked a little
Show,
bit of weed,
yeah.
just a bit, and then we watched the Truman Show, which was nice. It was a fun little watching Jim Carrey.
What does
That's an
smoking
interesting
weed do on
movie to watch
shrooms?
high.
Mm.
That's what I thought. It was definitely like a lot slower than I remember it, but Jim
I
Carrey
loved
is such
it.
a joy to watch.
I'd never seen it,
And, like,
so
Yeah.
this was
Yeah,
really
Swagger hadn't seen
this
it,
was
so-
really good.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
a
it
fucking
was
pretty
fun.
awesome movie. But
Yeah, then we just kind of chilled and watched content. We watched a few Adult Swim on the airs, some other trippy shit, and by that point it was getting late and
Yeah, it was
the
like
trip
1 a.m.
was over, I guess.
So I
Yeah.
drove home extremely high.
Drove home. It looked like the Rainbow Road.
But yeah,
Uber home and-
to answer your question, Jay, about like weed on shrooms, we had it pretty well into our come down. So
Okay.
I didn't really notice anything too like crazy, and we were very conservative with the
Yeah.
amount that we were smoking too.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
know,
just
I know,
interesting.
if I
Really
had
re-up or anything.
like ripped a bong on my peak, it would have made everything so much more intense. And I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Fuck. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Because mixing
just played it
weed
pretty
and
safe and-
psychedelics is a risky play. Usually, it's only on the come down if you want to prolong your trip or like bring visuals or whatever back.
Mm.
Then you could try that. But for
Yeah.
me personally, I was kind of like already overwhelmed towards the start of the trip, and it wasn't even really that bad. So I didn't want to make it
Yeah.
worse than that. So I was being
I mean,
very
I-
careful.
I had like 2 whole bongs and I was fine.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. It didn't really matter. We were already like
But
8 hours
we were-
into our trip by that point, so it wasn't that.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that.
Right,
you know,
right,
That
right.
much of a difference. But if we had done it like towards the middle or like right after the peak, it would probably put us
Mm.
back up on the peak.
Wait, so it lasts like 8 hours.
It's 6 to 8 hours.
I think 6. Yeah, 6 to
Fuck.
8. Probably more
That's
like 6.
ages.
It's an ordeal. Acid
Oh,
is 8 to 12.
acid's like 12. Yeah.
Oh
it's-
my
When we took acid,
God.
we were up all night. I was up until like 6 in the morning. Yeah.
Jesus.
You know, it was wild.
So yeah, you kind of got to allocate it the day, and then you kind of got to allocate the day after to relax. Because at the end of the day, our bodies felt so exhausted and like
I can
tired.
imagine, yeah.
Like
Felt like I was
you just
beaten with a
been, like,
bat.
through the ringer. Yeah, a little bit like you just been in like a fight or something. And the next day too, it was just like super achy, but also kind of like very chill, at peace.
I was
reflective.
mentally refreshed
Like-
the next day.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
I actually got
Yeah, me
work
too.
done.
Yeah,
shit.
I didn't feel like I really got anything like meaningful out of the trip
Neither.
in terms of like growth, but we
Neither
weren't
did
really
I.
going into it for that purpose. We were just like,
No.
hey, let's just fucking like have a day, see what happens, right? And we had
Yeah.
a good day. It was awesome. It was such a fun time. Yeah,
Sounds
and
crack up.
go, leaving. I mean, do you have any other questions about the thing? Because I obviously bought 7 grams, which means that I still had 3, maybe just over 3 grams left over.
Shit.
And I had a solo trip all on my own a couple days ago. So I can dive into that story as well. But do we have any questions about the trip or anything else anyone wants to bring up? I don't know.
Surely a
Sounds like
question.
it was funny.
Did it
I
make-
just feel bad that we're talking the whole time. And, like,
Oh, I didn't
I'm
think
just-
it was
I'm-
fine. Did it
yeah,
make
I'm
you very
very interested.
introspective?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had some shroomy conversations
Yeah.
about like the world and about I don't know. But it's
We
very
talked
much just,
about
like,
30-year-olds. They still live with their parents while we were at the park. Do you remember that? Like how sad it would
don't
be to be
remember
like 35 years old and like still live with their mom, and like their mom picks out all
Yeah.
their clothes.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
we just talked. Yeah, we talked about a bunch of things. But I don't really remember too many conversations.
Neither. That was the only one I
kinda-
remember.
I kind of just, I kind of dismissed them as like, yeah, we're on shrooms. Like, this is shroom talk right now. But it's so fun. It's so fun, like contemplating the world and life and what actually matters. And really, it kind of gives you just a sense of, I guess, calmness. Like, you're not really too worried about existential dread when you're on shrooms. You're just kind of in the moment, at least for me, which is just a really pleasant thing to undergo. So you're kind of like thoughtful, but you're not anxious. It's nice.
Interesting.
Shit.
Hmm.
Because often
Yeah.
when you think about like existential ideas, you kind of get anxious because you're thinking about things much bigger than yourself. But on shrooms, it kind of just felt like you were at one with something bigger than yourself. So that was cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, a couple weeks pass, and I'm like, okay, I was waiting for a nice sunny day. I've been wanting to have a solo trip, and I definitely wanted to take more this time because, I think that my recommended dose would be more accurate, like 2.8 grams for my size. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna do.
And
everything I
your
have
body
left.
also develops a tolerance, right?
Yeah, but the
After the
tolerance
first time.
usually
Yeah, but after 2
goes
weeks, like,
away
it's-
a week and a half later.
Okay.
They
Okay.
say about a week
So-
and a half to 2 weeks it takes for your body to
Mhm.
kind of reset the serotonin so that you could fire it again. But if you took a tab of acid and like the next day you wanted to do it again, you would have to take about 2 tabs of acid to get the same trip. And then the next day you'd have to take 4. So it's very, very, very
Yeah.
limiting, and it's very taxing on your body. So
Ooh,
I
couldn't
wouldn't.
I would not even want to.
Yeah,
like, the day
I,
after,
like I
right?
couldn't
Like,
imagine like taking acid the day after I took acid. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine taking shrooms
Fuck
the day
that,
after I took
bro.
shrooms. Like the nature of
Yeah.
psychedelics means that they're like just the way that they work. It's very self-limiting. I mean, like I can't fucking drink like 2 cases of beer and a bottle of wine to get trashed, and then wake up the next day and be like, yeah, I'll have more, because I'm fucking destroyed. Like the thought of drinking.
Why would you
make
want
me
to?
sick.
Like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, one and a half, 2 weeks was like more than enough to reset me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, look, I'm gonna do this. I've definitely been wanting to trip solo. And I wanted to take enough where I really fucking felt it this time. So I did what I had left, which I believe was like 3, maybe 3.2 at the max grams of these dried shrooms. I should have ordered a pizza, but it was like first thing in the morning. I took them around I say first thing in the morning, it's more like 12 p.m. But I just recently woken up, so I didn't want to order a pizza. So I ordered like a ham and cheese toasty and sprinkled them in that.
Oh,
There were
nice.
so many shrooms that like there was a lot of quite a lot like surface area on this ham and cheese toasty. And so I'm trying to eat this, and it's so disgusting. It tasted so bad. And I'm like drinking water to try and get it down, and it just turned into mush. And I'm like chewing,
Oh,
like
what
okay,
the
just get
fuck?
it down, just
Off
get it
to a good
down.
start.
It probably took me like 20 to 30 minutes just to eat all of them because of how
Oh.
painful it was. And I was kind of getting worried, like, what if it starts kicking in before
Yeah,
we finish
yeah,
this fucking thing? So
It takes
but-
that long.
anyway, I also kind of prepared my house a little bit. I cleaned
Mm.
up beforehand. I made sure I had some fruit out on the bench. I had plenty of water. I didn't have a trip sitter, which
Yeah.
maybe was a bad idea. But I also kind of I know myself pretty well, and I'm kind of a person that I like being introspective. I like thinking things through. I like kind of confronting myself. So I kind of wanted to have that without any interference, or
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to worry about what a sober person might think of me while I'm fucking on shrooms.
Right.
So I decided to do it alone. And let me just say,
Dude.
I had the most amazing day. It was incredible.
Good.
That's awesome.
Well, I
shrooms,
recall
I'm
before
listening
you
to music.
started, you sent me a Snapchat of you like this, like, waving into the camera going, just took the rest of my shrooms, Godspeed. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, he's alone in his house. And I figured like, oh, well, if he
Mhm.
actually needs anything, like, he'll just hit me up
Yeah.
and ask me to come over.
That's why I
So,
let you know. Yeah,
was
I
all
let a
good.
few people know like that I was just doing it just so they were aware. People kind of like near me. But yeah. So I eat these shrooms. I'm listening to my music, and all of a sudden I start feeling it. It's that same butterfly feeling, that same like kind of rush of like probably like serotonin or whatever it is, just like coming over you. And music got really intense. Obviously, I took
Oh,
more
what's
this
up,
time,
man?
so
What's
I was
up?
experiencing much more intensity. I was actually worried I was gonna throw up like swagger because I'd eaten like so many of these things is because they tasted so bad and they weren't sitting quite right in my stomach. But I didn't throw up. What I did do was look at my rug. I have the silver shaggy rug, which looked like organs. Like it looked like squiggly worms, but not in a gross way, in a beautiful way, like beautiful silver organic looking worms that were
Interesting.
moving and wriggling. My couch was so comfortable and soft, and the music was just hitting. I was listening to like Pink Floyd and just a bunch of like great psychedelic rock. And I had this big subwoofer and it was rattling my house. I cranked it up. I had the door open. The sunshine was leaking through and I was honestly overwhelmed. I felt like drunk and stupefied. I was kind of sitting like a drunk on my floor. My arms rested on my couch, just thinking like, holy shit, this is crazy. This was kind of like the intense rush of the come up. And then I realized that this intensity had sort of passed and I wasn't so knocked on my ass anymore. And I could actually stand up and dance and like do whatever I wanted. And I realized, oh, I'm on shrooms. Now all that's left to do is enjoy the day. So I went up to like my roof for a bit and I laid out in the sun listening to music with my headphones. And that was crazy, just feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin. I went downstairs and I had a boogie in my living room listening to all the music that I like. And then I just start laughing. And this is something that I didn't really get too much on shrooms with Uswag. We didn't really get in like a laughter loop. I was completely alone, laughing like an absolute fucking maniac for probably an hour
Like
on
the Joker.
my rug. Couldn't stop laughing. Like something was just so funny to me, and I kept like saying things like, "Nothing's ever the same. Nothing's ever the same after this." Like just random things like that. Like I remember just like rolling around and like tears streaming down my face from laughter and snot filling my nose because like of, I don't know, just like the tears. And I'm kind of like blowing my nose and throwing the tissues around my house. Like, I don't give a fuck, like, you know, whatever.
Oh my
I walk into my
God.
office and I see like a funny photo that a friend saw me of this monkey. And I'm like looking at this monkey and laughing to myself. Like, that's so funny. I've been laughing at this picture for so long. Like, I also see that Jay's open on my Discord and he's like, make me a video. And I'm like, bro, I'm tripping right now. This is crazy. Like, I was like running around like a lunatic on my own, just like, what the fuck is going on? Nothing's ever the same. Touching things, like eating fruit. I ate this nectarine, and not to get sexual with it, but I practically like made love to this nectarine. I was just like literally like, like enjoying it. Like the pit in my mouth is like,
Devouring
lying on
it.
the ground. Like I was just an animal. Like didn't obviously have to worry about what anyone thought of me. So I was
Yeah.
just free to enjoy sensations however I pleased. I remember looking in the mirror and like my hair looked crazy, like almost like rainbow tinted, and my eyes were like
What the
saucers, and
fuck?
I was like
Yeah.
looking at myself, I was like, who
That's
is
so
this cunt? Like, what's
sick.
going on? Listening to music, like it didn't freak me out. I was just completely, it was euphoria almost. It was actually much more comparable to the first time, or the only time that we did acid, where you're just running around like a maniac, feeling like so much time has passed, feeling like so much has happened, but in reality, you're probably just rolling around on a rug, like laughing to yourself. So the come up was wonderful. Like I had a really, really wonderful time. Sunshine, music, fruit, just enjoying my company. I played guitar for a bit. I played piano, which was really like, I just felt like I could just play anything that sounded amazing. It probably sounded like shit, but but to me it was like, man, this is so good. Like I can't believe I'm just coming up with these melodies. And then what happened? I guess I peaked at some point. Like it was really just this euphoric feeling for a while, doing various things, and then I realized that I'm really like, I guess, cresting the peak. And this is when like it kind of gets interesting because I remember just feeling like, okay, I want to be up in the sun again. It's around maybe 4 I think it's like 4 p.m. So the sun.
I'm building Road Anthony in the Outer Banks,
I go up
basically.
into my,
I wish I could be building more of Gastonia, but you know, well, as if you saw the first episode of season 2, I kind of lost the save file. I lost it, and it made me very upset. And I probably will not work on it, but I'm hiring people to work and rebuild it on a server. So you know, we got a whole server. Some people are from New York right now. They're on the server, and we got some from TBD. I don't know what that is, but and we got some people in the lobby. It says hub. Yeah, I lost it on single player. The entire thing. This is something I worked on for like an entire year, and I worked every day, 1 to 3 hours every day, tirelessly. and then lost it. Not but about 5 days ago. Oh, is my mic? Is this the wrong mic? Do not understand. Am I using the wrong microphone? Who was talking in the background before? That was a podcast. I'm actually listening to. I listened to podcasts while I do this. So like right now, I have the Misfits podcast on here, on Spotify, and usually when someone's wants to ask a question in chat, then I'll pause the podcast and I'll just talk with my microphone because I want to. The only reason I can actually do this for like every single day and then do it for hours at a time without getting tired is because I can just sit back, relax, and then what's the podcast about? It's four guys that well, actually about 6 people who formed the Misfits back in like 2016, and then they made a podcast, and they just talk about they just talk about like sometimes they talk about how they smoke weed. And then they like trip balls and all the experiences they get off of it, and then sometimes they just talk about gaming. They're basically a very good gaming channel in my opinion. They played a lot of CS:GO back in the day, and they just talk and shoot the shit when they make videos. Just really cool stuff. Yeah, I can put it back on. I fell play.
Upstairs
Oh, there we
on
go.
the deck with my guitar and with this blanket. Audio listeners won't be able to see it, but it's like a rainbow,
Oh shit,
really
yeah.
like finely
Ah.
stitched blanket, which just looked like you could imagine looking at this thing like how crazy this would look on shrooms. It was just
Yeah.
the fabric is so intricate and intertwined, and the colors were beautiful, and it was moving and waving. And I took, for some reason, like this was just something sentimental to me, so I took it up there with me along with my guitar, and I kind of sat in the sun. And this is when like there's this overwhelming sense of, I wouldn't even say overwhelming because it doesn't really, it kind of contradicts, but it was just, I felt at peace. You know, I felt like a sense of calm and peace. And I was sitting in the sunshine with my eyes closed, and I was on my guitar, playing just like these 2 chords over and over again, just like doing like,
What? That's so sick.
just these 2 chords. And then I would start like humming like you know, just like saying like random lyrics that came to my head. And I was just like in the sunshine, and I was like completely like just enjoying this moment. Just, I don't even know how long I was there for. And then I remember lying down on the couch, still holding my guitar and playing it, and looking at the blanket on my side, the sun's on my face. And it felt like, it honestly felt like a mother's embrace. It felt like the
Aw.
world had just kind of was holding
That's
me
so
and
beautiful.
cradling me. And I was just completely at peace. But at the same time, I was aware that the moment was fleeting, and that the sun was going down, and that pretty soon I was going to have to return to the real world, and I was going to have to go back to normal. But I was like, you know, that kind of feeling of the moment fleeting almost ruined it. But then it was, you just bring yourself back into what you're enjoying, and you realize that that's inevitable, and that's the ebb and flow of life, and the give and take, and like nothing's ever perfect forever. And I kind of made peace with that idea.
Wow.
And I just enjoyed it while it lasted, just playing those same 2 chords and humming and like singing like little lyrics to myself, feeling just like I was being cradled by the universe, feeling at one with everything, which is so cliche, but it's really how I felt. And then the sun finally went down behind my little fence, and it was no longer on my skin. And I kind of sat up, and there was no more music. There was just birds chirping. And I look at the blanket, and it's not as colorful as it used to be. And I look at the sky, and it's not as bright as it used to be. And it was kind of, it was sad, but it also wasn't sad. It was like sad, but I also knew it was necessary. And I remember standing up and kind of looking at Melbourne, and just thinking like, holy shit, that was insane. Like, it was incredible. So exhausted at this point. The colors weren't as saturated. Things were fading. I was coming down. And then I entered this really like introspective headspace where I went back inside and I walked around my house, and nothing was as colorful as it was a couple hours ago.
Wow.
And I was looking at the same things that I was really fascinated by, and they were kind of more bland now.
You're
And
seeing
more,
all
like,
the
real.
tissues, all the used tissues littered over your floor.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember sitting on my couch, and there was no more like real light in my living room. It was actually quite dark, and I just sat there and I actually cried for like 20 to 30 minutes. Not even for anything in particular. I guess just like mourning this experience I'd gone through, and also feeling like quite alone and by myself.
Yeah.
I cried for like a while, but it wasn't like unpleasant, if that makes sense. It was more just like,
Cathartic, right?
oh, here I am, like, yeah, cathartic, and like, here's me returning to my body, here's me returning to my life, the way that things have always been, you know, the person that I've always been, you know, I've made my life what it is today. All the mistakes I've made, you know, there in the past, I've made mistakes, you know, all of the success that I've had, like, that's fine too. Everything just was as it was. And it was sort of, I guess, just making peace with what you're left with, which is like, oh, here's my life. It's a little bit in pieces, but there's also things that I'm grateful for and things that are great. And that's okay. And then I found a photo of me and my parents, and I remember holding that along with a big fucking glass bottle of water, which I was just drinking from the neck of. And I walked around and I sat in various places of my home and just kind of like thought about my life, thought about the people in my life, thought about like where I was, who I wanted to be. And just had this wonderful time just sitting almost in silence, just thinking and just looking at things and drinking water and recovering and reflecting. I looked at myself in the mirror a lot and kind of like thought about that. I obviously came to quite a few revelations on this, which I'm not going to share because that sort of thing is personal.
course.
But it was like deeply, deeply meaningful. And then I put on my headphones and I played this like ambient mix that my brother showed me last Christmas. We sat in person together by a stream and listened to this mix, which starts off with this beautiful poem, very ambient. I put that on to remind me of my brother and my family. And I went back up to the deck, and the sun is just setting now. So like it's just setting. It's
Holy
still light.
fuck.
There's birds flying through the sky. The sky looked like, you know those marbles which are kind of clouded with like white wisps?
Yeah.
The clouds looked like white and wispy and like very, very beautiful. And I was just listening to this mix and drinking from my bottle of water.
Right.
And I wasn't drinking like liquor. And just being like, just letting the sunset wash over me. And that was just insane. That was crazy. I think before this as well, I actually smoked a bong. Which I smoked a bong. I think I almost didn't even think about it. It was just something that I just decided to do, which I'm glad that I did because it really made the sunset incredible. And then I didn't smoke any more that night. I didn't even feel like I needed to. I could actually feel like my body getting exhausted and a headache coming on. And normally when I feel like a headache, I might smoke to self-medicate myself. But for this time, I just wanted that sobriety and I wanted to sit with the emptiness that I felt. And I just kind of sat with it and chilled. And yeah, then I played some Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, which by the way, great game to play on a shroom, come down. Holy shit, just a gorgeous, beautiful, like nature-filled game. I watched Princess Mononoke.
Didn't some of you guys
Also a
play
great film
that
to watch.
on the moon cakes in space cakes?
Oh,
in,
no, yeah, I
No, they
got
had the
that.
truffles, right?
Yeah, it was the truffles. I took truffles with Sam, and then I unboxed my Switch in our hotel room, and I fucking played it for like a good 2 hours while I was on these truffles. Which are pretty much the same as shrooms, but I did not have like nearly enough to constitute a trip.
Right.
It was a microdose. It was still fun.
It's a great game to play. I'd love to try truffles sometime and compare. I still haven't done them. But yeah, it was just like chill, and I was exhausted and tired, but I was also just kind of enjoying that sensation. Everything I just felt still at peace, not only with, you know, all of the good things in my life, but also with all the bad things in my life. And that was really, really powerful. I watched Princess Mononoke, which was kind of just something to watch to pass the time. Really cool film to watch. And then, yeah, I went to bed and I woke up the next day and I just felt so clear-headed and so like different, and like I just experienced something so profound.
Wow.
And yeah, that was my solo trip. Yeah,
That was very poetic. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. That was so beautiful,
cool.
bro. What
That
the
was
fuck?
fucking awesome, dude.
It was
The way
it
you
was a
described
beautiful-
it is like, that's unreal.
Well, I'm glad you had a
It
good
was a
time.
beautiful
Because I
day.
remember I was checking up on you, like maybe twice that day. Be like, "How you going?" You're like, "Fuck." The messages were like, "Yeah, I'm really good. I'm really good." And then I asked you again how you're holding
Mhm.
up, and then you were like, "This is fucking fantastic. I can't wait to tell you about this. This is amazing." And
Yeah.
I was just like, "Good, good. He's having a good time. He's not seeing demons." And that was all
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
worried
damn.
about is that demons would start coming out of the wall.
No demons. Nothing really negative about it at all. Like even I live alone, and that I kind of worried that on the come down I might feel like afraid in my own home, because it's kind of
Right.
easy to get paranoid when you're by yourself. I felt no paranoia. It was just like
Good.
whatever happens, happens, man. Like I just fucking spoke to God, so I think I'm good for the day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Holy
so
shit, man.
incredible.
That's really good, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah,
I'm happy for
That's
you.
amazing.
I'm glad that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that I did it. Yeah, it was
So,
fucking awesome.
so would you say
recommend.
that it's changed your perspective on a lot of things? How you outlook life, how you outlook, things in general?
It's interesting because I remember like thinking to myself on the come down, like nothing is the same and yet everything is the same. Like, because what I'd experienced is obviously something abstract and personal to me. My life and all the connections that I've made in my life, they're still exactly the same because no one went through this experience with me. But like definitely my relationship with myself was improved.
Good.
Definitely I like forgave myself for a lot of things. I understood my decision making for a lot of things. I reflected a lot on like my relationship with certain drugs like weed, quite a lot, which I think is part of why after that one bong, like that was almost like my last bong. Not ever. I
Right.
don't want to like set myself up to say I've like quit marijuana or whatever, but it was definitely like we need to like reassess what we're doing here because I've definitely smoked a lot of weed over this lockdown period. And to a point where probably I'm doing it to self-medicate. I'm probably doing it to like avoid, confronting certain things. So it was a good like look in the mirror for that. And yeah, a whole bunch of other personal things, which I won't talk about, but yeah, a lot of realizations for sure. So
Wow.
yup, definitely
amazing.
therapeutic. Definitely understand what they're talking about when they say they're using psilocybin for therapy for addiction or depression or any of that sort of thing. Like it's I could see
Yeah.
how an experience like that could change you and really give you some insight if you're willing to look
Yeah.
at yourself.
Dude,
I think a lot of
very real.
people might have bad trips because they're afraid to look at something they might not like about
Yeah.
themselves or
Or,
something that
or
they
they're
might
afraid to
not
lose
understand.
control.
Yeah, exactly. But I went
Me.
into it willing to
Yeah,
willing
I'm
to get fucked, like
scared of
willing
that.
to get shattered. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was
I
dope.
think
It was
I don't
very,
think
very
I
dope.
could have a good experience on psychedelics at least at this stage in my life, just because
Yeah.
like the reason I didn't have fun on acid was because, and it's also the reason why I don't smoke weed and the reason why I don't drink is because I hate the lack of control, the feeling of
Yeah.
being slightly out of control. I can't give up control. I am
Yeah.
totally happy to give up control of what's happening in my life, but when it comes to what I'm doing and like my own body and stuff, I'm like, no, I need to be in control of
Yeah.
everything.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
I feel the same
like
way.
I'm like the
I'm
opposite.
similar.
I feel like I'm the opposite because I feel like I like control in my day-to-day life, but I often will like take substances to lose control because I like that feeling. I like seeing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
like,
that's the thing.
what
Like,
it,
a lot of people will drink or smoke weed because, like, it'll make them more confident or more comfortable and stuff like that. And then there's people on my side where it's like, no, that doesn't make me more
Yeah, you feel
confident
like-
or comfortable. It actually makes me
Yeah.
way less confident
Makes
and
you-
way more
makes you
uncomfortable.
yeah,
worse.
because you're
Gives more
unsure of your
anxiety.
footing and what's going on, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's absolutely fine. Yeah, psychedelics are not for everyone. and
No.
you should
Yeah.
definitely like analyze your own mental state and like
Yeah.
even your family history for
Yeah, if
for
you
certain
have
things. Like,
schizophrenia,
100%. Yeah.
anything like that, make sure you do not
Yeah.
take that. It
Mhm.
could put you in a
be
psychosis.
super careful. Yeah. But yeah, like if you feel like it's something that you're into or that you want to confront things about yourself, I'd recommend it. But if it's your first time, I'd recommend doing it with someone else or at least having a sitter. And obviously starting with that low dose, like you don't want to,
Very
because you
low.
can get railed by these things. Like I've heard stories of people just, what was that story you told her that your mate in college who turned into a cube?
Oh
Something
yeah,
like a
my
cube for-
friend, yeah, my best friend and roommate. He took an eighth, so he had 3.5 grams. And I'm sitting there editing a YouTube video, and the guy just walks across the dorm, and he's looking at me, he's staring at me, and I'm sitting down, and I look up at him, and I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? And he looks down at me, and then he sits down on the floor, crisscross applesauce, and he looks up at me, and he goes like this, and he pulls his shirt out, and he puts it over his head like this, and he's looking down into his shirt, and he goes, dude, I'm a fucking cube. I was like, what? What did you say? Like, lift up my headphone. I'm like, what did you say? He goes, I'm a cube. Dude, I'm a cube, dude. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then he looks at me. He puts his head out of his shirt, and he looks up at me, and he goes, oh, now it's just like we're just talking, and it's normal.
Interesting.
And then he does it again, and he goes, oh my God, it's happening again. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you're turning into a cube? And he goes, I have 6 sides. I'm solid. No, wait, I'm hollow. No, I'm solid. I go, look at me, dude. Just look at me. And he looks at me and goes, and now I'm back to normal. And now we're just talking. And then he'd do it again. He'd go, I'm a cube.
Fucking
I'd
hell.
be like, all right, dude, I'm
It
trying to
doesn't
edit a Counter-Strike surf video. This is amazing.
Yeah, honestly, that doesn't sound like the worst experience. It sounds like you
Nah.
had fun being a cube.
Yeah,
but
give
you
it a
can
bad-
have some fucking
What
traumatizing.
would a bad experience
times.
look like? Like a really bad
I would say,
experience.
I'd say a really bad experience would be if you're in like an uncomfortable setting, like with a lot of people around, maybe that you don't
Yeah.
know, or maybe you're with people that like you don't get along with, or something like that, and you're just like, I don't know, like I guess you're really just confront your environment, and you like your environment is so important, and your mindset's so important that if you're in that environment, you could probably start like just getting in negative thought loops, and your brain is
Yeah.
sparking and like making all these connections at once. So like that becomes really overwhelming and visually really unpleasant. And
Yeah.
I've
You
never
know,
had a
get
bad
a-
trip,
and
so I actually don't know
fighting
what
it,
it feels like.
A bad trip is essentially a panic attack, except
Oh,
while you're
shit.
tripping. And a panic attack feels like you're fucking dying. So when
Yeah,
you have a
fuck
panic
that.
attack on acid or shrooms, it feels even worse than dying. It feels
Yep.
horrible. It
Yep.
feels horrible.
Which is why like it like pays to kind of, I guess, have a mantra in your head that like I'm on shrooms. I know
Yep.
shrooms are safe. I know I won't die. I'm not going to die. Like, or
Yeah.
whatever it is that comforts you or brings you back to reality, to remember, oh, I took a substance. That's why I'm feeling funny. And you just kind of have to let yourself
Yeah.
go with what you're doing. Like you can't.
Right.
That's,
if
that's
you
what I
start
had to do
resisting
when I
it,
was
then you
puking,
start
'cause I
feeling
was,
uncomfortable.
I was a step away from fucking freaking out and being like, I don't want to do this. I felt like crying at one point. Like I was so overwhelmed. And I was like, why do I even feel like crying? Like, what am I grieving for? Like, I took shrooms. I'm already an hour into the trip. I have another hour and a half to go before like this hurdle is cleared, and like I'm feeling better. So why do I even have to freak out? What am I going to freak out for an hour until I feel better? Do I really need a backpack? Do I really need like people to reassure me? I'm going to be fucking fine. So let me listen to Cam play music and let me just trip out a little and go comatose on the couch and shake and seize, and then boom, I can dance. And then I was good.
Yeah.
You know,
and
so
then you were free.
Yeah, I was free. I was free of the bullshit and the anxiety.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's-
puking
that's
on.
what
I
it's
wouldn't
really all
recommend
about.
puking on shrooms, man. That was really rough. That was really
You said
rough.
you said you kind of enjoed the visuals though, right? Like, weren't they interesting to look at? or
Yeah,
was it
but
just
also
completely
really over. I
overwhelming?
mean, dude, they made me dizzy.
Yeah.
They made me want to vomit because
bet.
it was spinning. It was like closing my
Yeah.
eyes and then the world is spinning around me. It was insane. I couldn't keep my head
Jesus. Wow.
like straight. It was just going like this. I was rolling my neck.
Bobblehead soul.
I noticed
Yeah,
when
it's-
like ages ago that when we did that first one, that not knowing the difference between what was real and what was like a visual was stressful to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, like like it's you don't know what reality is anymore.
Yeah, and you
Like,
don't
we're in
know
a
if
new
what you're
reality.
looking at is like a real thing and what everyone else is seeing, or if it's completely different. Like
Yeah.
I
It's
like
remember,
when-
I distinctly remember watching a music video with someone that was sober at the time, and being like, I don't understand this music video. Like, why is that person a zombie? And then the person beside me was like, they're not. That's just a normal person. And
Fuck
it was
that.
just like knowing that
Yeah.
I couldn't tell the difference between reality and visual was like weird and stressful to me.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, well, one thing me and Swagger did was we
Oh,
watched
yeah.
this guy take 2 tabs of acid in the woods. He just recorded himself taking
No, it
2
was
tabs
three.
of
It was
acid.
3.
3.
Yeah,
So
he
he's
was
like
fucked.
fucked, and we were just like laughing at this guy, not only because he was going through a kind of hilarious experience, but also like his head was just warping and shit.
Yeah,
like
it
his
was
head was
like
like 1 minute like
moving
really
and, like,
big and
folding
like
and
what the
stretching
fuck?
and fucking shaking, and like the background was undulating, and like me and Cam were sitting there going like, "Is this shit edited? Like, do you see that shit move?" And
had
he's
to
like,
be.
"Yeah, I see it move." And we
Yeah.
asked our trip sitter, we were like, "Do you see it move?" And she's like, "No, it's completely still." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're just a fucking idiot." I was like, "Oh, I'm just on
Yeah.
drugs."
I do remember you guys saying the first time that it was almost like the people on the acid were on the exact same wavelength,
Yeah.
whereas the people that weren't on it
Yeah,
were on a completely
they wouldn't
different one.
understand.
They have no
And it
understanding.
seems like it's so interesting that two people can be on something that is like mind altering, but experience such similar things.
That is
Mm.
interesting.
I would say I didn't feel as intense of a connection of like wavelength between me and Swagger when we did shrooms as opposed to acid. Like
Yeah.
acid, we really felt like we were a unit. Like we were like a
All of us,
thing,
yeah.
whereas this was more like, oh, we're both just like kind of having fun and like enjoying this time. And I also think like shrooms didn't really. You never feel like you're seeing something that's not there. It's always you're
Yeah.
seeing something that's there, but it's altered, and you're
Yeah.
like experiencing it in a different way. Whether that's like waviness or pulsating or breathing or color or anything. Like it's just kind of accents everything. So
Which one?
hell of a drug, man.
I know they say that one of them feels like you're taking yourself on a journey, and the other one feels like like you're being taken on a journey.
Yeah,
You know, like
acid
one
and
feels like
shrooms respectively.
yes.
can't-
Wait, so
people
which
say
one's which
peop-
though?
People say that with acid, you are in control of your trip,
Okay.
and then when you're on shrooms, the shrooms are in control of your trip, and that's
I'd
what
say
they
that's
say.
true.
But I don't know how scientific that is.
Yeah.
I always say
I-
like acid is like bzz, 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 and then shrooms is like woo, woo, woo. Like, and that's it's unscientific,
Yeah,
I
acid is
guess,
like-
but it makes sense.
Scientific
right?
Acid is-
description.
Yeah. Acid's it's just like you're like, oh, let's go over here. Oh no, wait, like, you're kind of like scattered
Yeah.
and definitely out of control and in some sense. But then I guess you're also making all the decisions actively and also with the group you're with. Like when we were on acid, it was like, yo, smell this lemon. Yo, let's like feel this
Yeah.
water in the sink. Like you're deciding what to do.
Let's baptize
but you're
everyone.
also like obviously overwhelmed with shrooms. Yeah, I especially my solo trip, I was completely in the hands of these little mushrooms, man. Like they were just doing whatever they wanted with me, and
Yeah.
I was just like
Wow.
just literally following just like some trail of that some higher thing that like wanted me to do. Like that's what it felt like.
Interesting.
Especially when I was up on that roof, man. Like in that moment of peace, that was like I've never felt peace like that in my life. Like probably since I was a baby. Like that's how it felt. Shit was crazy. So
Shit,
man.
dude.
That's really cool.
It is.
yeah. So yeah, I mean those are the two little shroom stories.
It's so interesting that they were very
finally-
different. Fun,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, well, I definitely took more on my own, and also being alone is that's different too. Like it's not about anyone but yourself,
Right.
You know, like it's your experience, it's your trip. You don't have to worry about like what does the trip sitter think of me, or like there's no
There's no
like, even
social
moments of
element.
social anxiety.
Yeah.
There's no is Swagger okay? Like and also for Swagger's one, I was a guest in his home,
Yeah.
which I remember like
You
kind
kept
of feeling
asking
anxious
me
about at the
like,
beginning.
I
I was
hope you're okay
"What's-
with me like being here, and I hope like
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I love it when you're here.
Yeah.
Like it's
Mm.
good. Like I love having you over. Stop tripping.
yeah."
You know.
Just instantly
Yeah,
stop.
so I-
Yeah. Instantly
Fits.
like sober.
Yeah.
Oh.
Imagine if I took it that one time that I was gonna come down and visit you in Wellington and do it then.
You had that old bag, right?
That would've-
You had those. They were kind of moldy though, right?
I don't know what it was. No,
Whatever
they were moldy eventually because of how long I had them for. That was like a bag like this big. Like that was an enormous bag of them.
What the fuck?
And it would have been a bad time. Like, the person I was with, it wouldn't have been the right person to do it with, and like I would not have been in the same headspace. Like at that point, I did not know myself at all.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn.
That's insane, man. What a stories.
Yeah, right.
What a stories.
That's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
so guys, I guess that kind of, I mean, unless we want to talk about anything else, it sort of brings this episode to an end.
I think it's a nice
Um,
little a nice little closure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really cool.
Guys, if you're
It's not as cool
Yeah,
as
the
when I
trip
made
makes-
sauteed mushrooms, but like it's
fucking Jay's actually becoming Gordon Ramsay. He's been updating me.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's my life up then.
Good.
Yeah, guys, if you're gonna trip, make sure you're safe. Make sure you don't do too much and that you're in the right headspace and in the right setting.
This was
be good to
sponsored
yourselves.
by Gamersubs.gg. If you want to be
Gamersubs?
really good to yourself, go to Gamersubs.gg and use code Misfits for 10% off. It is very good. Keep you energized while you're
Parent
tripping.
podcast.
I actually wouldn't recommend mixing caffeine with fad.
Probably not a good idea.
You'll be
Not
fine.
too much. Not too
You know,
much.
but Gamersubs. Go for
Gamer
it.
subs, guys. We love 'em, and we love you.
Gamersubs.gg
Gamer subs.
and
Cool, guys. Hope you
Spotify.
enjoyed listening.
And
And
Spotify.
Spotify. We love Spotify. Guys, thanks for listening. Love you. Hope you're staying well, staying safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Misfits podcast, rated 5 stars by not an avid listener. He says, this podcast encourages my depression. Good job, depression. Keep going. You're doing a great job, buddy. Hey, keep going, depression. Woo, you got it.
Yeah.
You got depression. You
You got it.
All right, that's enough. I'm trying to invite co-hosts, Swagger Souls.
Hello. We're Pimp Chip.
Mason.
What's going on?
Toby.
Fuck you, Fitz.
And Matt's here too.
Diddly diddly, neighbor.
Wow, very
Yeah, it
great
was really
contrast
good.
of introductions there. Very nice, everyone. Glad you're all
Wide
doing
array.
well. We should all be doing well because things are looking up here in Melbourne, where we live, where we film, where
Mhm.
some of us live at least. Recently, we've been having some no COVID days here. No new cases. How sick is that?
Zero cases.
How neat is that?
So like, I think it was
How neat is that?
it was like 0 cases 2 days in a row, and then
It was like two.
I think
and
the
then three, I
two
think.
and then
Yeah.
3. Very very
2
low.
and 3. Yeah, so it looks like our lockdown here is finally showing its fruits. You know, we've been in an intense stage for a lockdown for what, over 100 days. now, a long
130
ass time.
days.
If you listen to the show, you know all about it. It's been terrible. It's been actually really terrible. It's been quite a difficult thing to go through as a city for Melbourne. But finally, it looks like it's actually worked. You know, we're fucking having days where we're getting no cases whatsoever. And we're not out of the woods yet, but things are opening up now. Restrictions have been lifted.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan and like half of our team came back to the city the other day. And yeah, lots has been happening. We've sort of been moving into a new office and fucking, yeah, I guess making good use of the lack restrictions. Poggers.
PogChamp.
Oh,
Very
okay.
very pug.
Pretty good.
That's right.
It's
Yeah, I mean, Toby, you're surely coming back pretty soon, and
No.
yeah, things are going good. No,
No,
okay.
no.
Just stay in New Zealand, then that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, no. I will make my way back. The thing that's holding me back now is just finding a place to live when I get there.
Mhm.
Which
That's
I
right.
found
You don't
some-
want to be living in the office again.
No. I haven't actually had a place to live in Melbourne for probably over a year.
Yeah, over a year.
Yeah.
Over a year now.
It's been a while. I was
Mm.
crashing at the office and then crashing at Ryan, so I'm just making sure that before I go over there, I've definitely secured a place to live at first.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been really surreal. Like, as soon as cases, like, went down and then the restrictions were lifted, I remember driving, like, down the street and seeing, like, an entire, like, flock of school children out, like, crossing the streets. I've seen, like, so much traffic. Everyone's on the road. Everyone's outside, wearing masks, of course.
Mhm.
But,
Wait,
It's
your
just
schools
weird.
were closed?
yeah, everything was fucking closed.
Oh,
Everything was
see,
remote learning.
In New Zealand, when everything was closed, schools were still open. They were like the
Wait,
only places
really?
still open.
Interesting.
You guys were never as out of control
Yeah, yeah.
as we were here in Melbourne, though, right? Like, it
Yeah.
was. I don't even know what was the max new case day New Zealand had. I don't even
I don't
know.
think it
I
was
know
very
in
bad.
Melbourne here we were at a point where it was
700, 800.
800 cases
Yeah.
every day, you know, which is like a lot of fucking
that's one
new
state.
cases. So I guess, yeah, like Melbourne, yeah, and Victoria specifically, Victoria, Australia, I guess, is just, they just decided early on that we're going with the lockdown route. I actually saw a headline today saying that France and
Mm.
Germany are following suit and
They're locking down.
a 4-week lockdown. I'm pretty sure it's going to end
Ooh.
up being a lot. Yeah, as people who live in Melbourne, we know what it's like. Oh, it's at the beginning we were told what 4 or 6 weeks of lockdown,
Right.
You know, and obviously like once you begin a lockdown, the idea is that you stick with it until things improve and things are better, right? So when we got to week 6 here and we found out, oh, like the cases are still existent, we realized, oh, we need to go for longer. So it was kind of this thing about an initially proposed brief lockdown that just gets constantly extended. Because as a government, like this is what I imagine France and Germany are doing. There's no way they're going to be like, oh, guys, we're locking down the country for 3 months. Like,
it's not
that's
gonna
just
go
not a
over well
good.
at all.
That's just not a good idea to like address the public that way. So,
No.
if you're from France or Germany and you're going into the lockdown, Godspeed, guys. It's a little rough here, but
Yeah.
definitely worth it. Saved a lot of lives, and now, hopefully, unless fucktards ruin it for everyone, Melbourne is going to be free, and we're going to be free, and living life normally again. So that's going to be great.
It's just going to be
we gotta-
weird to like live normally, because even when we were all hanging out like at the office, there was like 16 people there like doing their thing, and like I'm still like not used to it, and I feel like even when like
Neither.
restrictions are like gone, and like we could all hang out like normally, I'm still going to feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Like you're like
And
breaking
that-
the law or some shit. It's been so
yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Dude, that
Like-
happened to me yesterday. I went and got a haircut for the first time in months. And I went to grab lunch somewhere, and I went in the bar to like grab something to go, and I looked in and there's like people dining in there. I'm like, wait, we're allowed to eat inside now? He's like, yeah, we're okay with the restrictions. I'm
So
like, what the
weird.
fuck? Okay, they gave me a table number. I'm sitting there. I'm like, dude, this feels so illegal. What the fuck,
Yeah,
man?
doesn't it feel wrong?
Yeah.
Like I feel like a bad person.
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
like,
I'm like,
hang
fucking breaking
out.
the rules, but I'm allowed to. What the fuck? Oh, some lady like walked in later, like 5 minutes later. This lady walked in. She like looked around. She's like, yeah, Melbourne. Everyone else is like, yeah, Melbourne. Just excited
Yeah,
to be able to like
man.
walk
Interesting.
into somewhere.
Yeah, it's definitely united the city in some ways. Everyone in the city has suffered the same lockdown. Not everyone. I guess there are a few fuckwits who I guess were against it and probably, completely
Yeah, like the fucking
didn't
protest
obey
that
the rules at
happened.
all.
The protest that
days,
happened
2 days
three, like
before they lifted them.
2 days.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everywhere has their fair share of idiots, but the city's gone through a lot together, and I'm keen for the energy that comes to the city when things are actually in the clear and things are fully open and we're able to party and go to bars and basically live a normal life again. How crazy! Exactly what you're saying is true. It's just so foreign now. We were all at the office. There were like 16, 20 people there helping unpack. This is the most people any of us had been around in fucking
4 months, 5
4
months.
months.
now.
yeah.
Like months now. It's not even that many. It's just so weird being in a space. I don't know, but it's fucking good though. It was a very therapeutic day. It was very nice seeing everyone again. Good seeing Ryan and the boys.
Yeah.
Again, everyone. So, shit, man, things are looking up there.
Yep.
Mason,
And hopefully
Mason,
we'll be able to shoot the
hopefully.
podcast in person again
Oh yeah.
at some
hopefully
point
soon.
Yeah.
soon.
set's being constructed as we speak. So yeah, really pretty soon. Wait, Mace, you've been in Geelong. You just fucking were like, fuck Melbourne, fuck the lockdown. Like, obviously, like, why
yeah.
wouldn't you go back home to Geelong? How's it being there? Like, pretty much same old. things are
Same
pretty much
old,
all
no
good?
no different, but like we've had a couple bars open and stuff like that, so people were able to go out and book, and
Cool.
like it's like you're allowed to sit outside, and there's like a limited amount of people inside, so it's
Nice.
not bad.
Are we seeing you this weekend for Halloween?
I think you might be.
Fuck
Well,
it,
you
no,
might
you
just
very
be.
good, and you have to come
Fucking
suss the new
oath.
office as well, surely.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you been before? Did you go back when we checked it out a while ago? The new office.
No, I haven't.
You're gonna love
That's
Maybe.
cool.
Has it got like the multiple car parks?
it. No.
Nah,
It
it
has
might
a
be a
giant
different one.
garage.
Oh,
Massive garage. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I mean, people who have been paying close attention to certain people's Instagrams might have already gotten a sneak peek, but hopefully you'll be seeing a bit more of this office than you saw with the last one. But yeah, we'll be filming
Yeah.
the set there. And
Wait,
obviously the whole
The
Misfits
last one
corporation and
meaning
everything is
like
being
the
run out of there,
last
too.
office, or like the thing that
The
we
last
got.
office.
Okay, not the thing after.
Even the yeah, not the thing after that. We've been very secretive with our little operations, and that's just fine by me. Fuck the fans.
Aw, it's all right. We'll,
No.
we'll probably make a video and probably film one in like the next 2 weeks, where we just kind of tell everyone like what our plans were for the year, and
Yeah.
kind of show off what we had planned and what we had secured, and what
Mm-hmm.
lockdown kind of ruined completely.
Yeah.
So there'll be a little
Yes.
explanation video at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But the important
Yeah,
thing
we'll go
is,
over it
is
all.
that we have an office now that is really, really good, and it's going to be pretty
Mhm.
good. It's going to be fucking awesome.
I don't know what I'm gonna do to get up there to record and stuff. Like, I don't know what I can do.
You think
So-
you think
What
you
for
would
the-
move up here?
I mean, I can't really afford it, but I'll fucking if there was an opportunity, I'd take it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out the operations and everything and see what the best way to get the podcast done is. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, it'd be cool to see you soon.
Yes.
Yeah, and Toby's gonna come over as soon as she can as well, as soon as she can get a place, like she said. And yeah, Jay's gonna be, actually able to leave the house for a change. Obviously, Jay was locked inside for the entirety of the lockdown, pretty much staying in his home because he has asthma and didn't want to catch COVID for obvious medical reasons. So yeah, it's been fucking hell of a disconnected year, but now things are feeling a little bit better. So Pog.
Pog.
Can we get a group? Can we get a group?
You can really feel the excitement in this call. You really feel just teething with happiness and energy and excitement. I'd love to see that. I mean, what else is new? Anyone got any fucking shit they want to talk about?
I won $10,000 on stream the other day.
What?
Lockbox, what'd you do?
What the fuck?
What?
I had an urge to watch some like high tier Counter Strike, some competitive Counter Strike, and I was like, well,
Mhm.
if I'm gonna watch it, may as well watch it with my stream. And I was like, what will make it like a lot of fun and make everyone feel invested in it is if we also bet on it. So we found a game,
Mhm.
and we put $1,500, $1,500 on the team that was like the underdog of the series,
Right.
and I
Mhm.
think it paid out like 4 point something times.
Wait, so you just bet and then watch the game?
Yeah,
on stream?
so we just placed down a bet, and then we watched the
Nice,
the
that's
game
so
on
fun.
stream. So it was like 45 minutes of like tense content for
Right.
the stream. The first like 8 rounds, like our team had 1 round, and then the other team had 7, and I was just like, all right, well, I mean, it looks like it's going about the route it was meant to go. But then they pulled it back, and they ended up winning and made like $8,000.
Fuck off.
And then
Yeah.
and then
You're such a little lucky gambler. You always have these crazy gambling moments.
yeah, and then I withdrew a bunch of skins and stuff, and there was like $500 left or something, and I was decided to chat. I was like, "Do you want me to withdraw something worth $500 or put $100 on green 5 times?" And I put
And of course,
I
chat
put
is gonna go
143 or something, like, to round up my balance on the second spin, and I hit that, and there was an extra $2,000.
Oh my god!
Fucking hell, dude.
Bruh.
Busted.
Yeah.
What the
How's it get the
fuck?
So I've my Counter Strike inventory is worth like, I don't know, $12,000 to $15,000 right now, and I'm
Going OP skins, dude. Cash
Bro,
out.
sell that shit.
yeah. I'm gonna. I was talking to Anomaly. He said he would help me cash out, and yeah,
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
The guy to talk to.
Yeah.
For sure.
because I was like, I have no idea how to
Nice.
cash out anymore. But
Right.
yeah, it was so much fun.
That's amazing. That's so much fucking money.
Yeah, it was insane.
Jesus Christ.
But just like watching
Jeez.
pro games about teams I didn't know, and then having that element of like the element of gambling, even if it is like $100 or something,
Mhm.
having that element just makes it. It doesn't matter that I don't know who these teams are. I'm so invested and excited for this
Yeah.
one team, and it just makes it really fun and cool to watch.
Yeah.
Well, you're literally invested.
Yeah,
You put up the money.
that's true.
So that's fucking yeah. That would get my heart beating.
That's
And
it.
Counter Strike is
I used
cool
to do that.
because Counter Strike esports are like so basic and so
Yeah.
clear.
It's very
Like-
like observer friendly.
Yeah,
Like, anyone
it's
can watch
super
it and understand what's
observer-friendly.
going on.
Exactly. So like, everyone knows like these pros are on crazy high levels, like really good at the game, but I still
Mhm.
understand every single move they're making. Which is cool.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool. Yeah, I used to do that in university, but obviously not with the same amount. So it was just like
Oh yeah,
bet
it
what
was
rank,
it was
what any
dumb.
skins I had.
Bro, I remember when a high
Yeah,
tier
it
bet for
was
me
dumb,
was
but-
like $40. That was like a big bet
Yeah,
for me
but
back in the day.
That's Yeah, that's what I'm talking about back in university. But I would just bet just because I liked the game, but I liked the game more when I had something at
Exactly.
stake.
Exactly.
Then you bring
That's
back Lounge.
how a lot
bring
of
back CS:GO
sport-
Lounge. That was the best shit ever for Pro CS. Watching the matches and betting
Yeah,
on them.
wasn't though, because it kind of fucked with the scene a little bit early on. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Buy Power probably wouldn't have gone through that controversy if it
Oh,
wasn't for like,
right.
well, it was just a peculiar position, I think, to put young esports pros in, because one day they're just kind of like really good at CS and this is their thing, and next thing, all this money's at stake because of gambling. And like, of course, you're like, maybe some of these pros like 17, like really young kids, you know, you find out, oh, if I just throw this game, then I'll make $20,000. You know, like it happens, bro. It gets into the mind of the players, and not that, you know, anyone who threw or did any shady shit with gambling back in the days, you know, exempt from. Well, later Mason, exempt
shit.
from Mason. Mason just disconnected from the
he's
call, but
out.
his camera's
He's good.
probably still
Oh.
going.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
good,
it's all
good.
good.
What was
You were
I saying?
talking
Not
about like
only are
the
you,
throwing for skins and like the young kids and shit.
yeah. I mean, I guess it's just my point is, I guess you can see how it would.
Oh
affect
Yeah,
yeah, there's
totally.
definitely
See how
negatives.
that
Like I
temptation
remember
would be
there was
there.
issues with like DDoSing matches and shit. Like people would bet
Oof.
on a certain team and on the underdogs, and they'd start losing, so they just DDoS the fucking match, so it'd get canceled.
Wow.
Interesting.
Fucking
That-
hell. Yeah, and cheating to like hacking, like kukli.
The I Buy
Jeez.
Power shit, like, that was huge. And now, even today, that the I Buy Power stickers are so desirable. Like,
Yeah, it's so expensive.
I Buy Power sticker and I Buy Power Hollow is
Yeah.
like $15,000.
Oh
or
yeah, all the
something.
Katowice skins, all the old ones are
insane.
so
That's
insane now.
fucking so dumb.
Bro, I remember
So-
passing up on a Dignitas Hollow 2014. It was like $80 on OP skins. I'm like, I should really buy that, but I don't really want to right now. And now it's like fucking like $5,000 or some shit. You
Well,
fucking
for-
they're
for
so much
people-
now.
For people that have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, could somebody explain like what had happened with I Buy Power and like Counter-Strike, like the entire controversy? Because I'm not even really all that aware either.
What happened was there was a team called I Buy Power, and they were versing netcode guides at the time. And I Buy Power was like, back in the day, they were like a really good team, so they were like pretty much guaranteed to win this match.
Right.
And then the match happens. Right off the bat, you could see I Buy Power was just like playing really weird. Even like the casters picked up on it. They're like, they even like one of the famous quotes was, "I Buy Power is not playing like I Buy Power right now," because it was like it was
I
very
remember
odd. They
that,
weren't
'cause
even being
like
subtle
so
about it.
clearly.
Yeah, they weren't even
Mm.
being subtle
Yeah, I
about it.
remember.
It was very bad.
There was one moment, right, where I think I can't remember which player, but he was like scoped in on someone's
Oh, that
back
was Steel.
and
That was
decided
Steel,
not to
yeah.
kill him. Yeah.
He's like,
and
"I
it's
wanted a
"Oh,
knife."
what's going on?" Yeah.
But yeah, I think they eventually found out a few years. I think it was like at least a year later, because one of the players on the team's girlfriend broke up with him, and he told her about the throw. So then she was like
Ooh.
screenshotting text messages talking about it, and like eventually leaked it and shit. And
They-
that's
Never
how they
trust
got-
a woman.
Yeah, there you
If-
go.
If I
Fuck
remember
the
correctly,
going
around,
for
just
skins
fucking
part is the
around.
biggest takeaway. Is never trust a woman.
Oh, just
if I
fucking
remember
around.
correctly,
He probably threw the relationship as well, though.
I remember someone saying that like on the level that Counter-Strike esports is now, I Buy Power got fucked over because
Oh,
the
yeah.
amount of money that they threw for
Oh
is
my
like
God, it was so
way
small.
less than
It
they
was
would
only
have
like a
actually
couple
made if
thousand
they just
each.
continued being pros. And
So
obviously,
dumb.
because they got caught
Yeah.
for cheating and throwing for money, then they were just banned from competitive.
Wasn't it like 5 year? 5
No, I think
year
it was
ban?
a permanent ban, and then Valve came out
Wow.
and said,
Permanent
They,
yeah,
they,
ban.
re-
enforcing
they
it still.
revoked some of the bans, but not all of them. I think they revoked it on the
Yeah, I
people
remember-
that were under 18 or something.
The only person that wasn't banned was Skadoodle because he didn't receive skins for throwing.
Oh.
But
Wasn't
he
there,
would have. What
uh,
happened
he went-
was
he went on to
they
play
were
on
going to pay out
Cloud9.
skins to everyone, but then the guy that like paid them to throw the match didn't have the skins to give to Skadoodle at the time,
Oh.
so he kind of got away scot free, and the rest of the team wasn't going to like turn on him. They're like, no, let's just not have him get banned as well.
Who was the young kid
What-
in,
what
in
are
I
the-
Buy Power that ended up joining like Cloud9 or something?
That was Skadoodle.
That's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's another really, really talented player called Swag at the time. I
Yeah,
think goes
he
by
was really
Brax
young.
now.
He was really young.
Hmm.
Really young and so talented at the game. I used to just watch his streams, just him playing like ESCA or Face It pugs. And this kid just fucking goes off. And I remember on Reddit there was always a lot of talk about like how sad it was that this young professional's life was ruined, basically just from a small mistake for not a lot of money at the beginning. Probably talked into it. I mean, who really knows what went down, right?
Mhm.
But it's clear that it's a regrettable mistake. They got banned for a while. Like, sure, like that's fair enough. But at some point, you got to give like a person a time to grow from a mistake like that and give them another shot at the fucking game that they love and that they give everything to.
And they
right?
did.
I don't know what
They
he's
did
doing
with
now. I
Swag.
don't.
Did they
They
unban
unbanned
him?
They lifted that. Okay, good.
Because he was so
Fuck yeah.
young that
Fuck
it
yeah, that's good to
just
hear.
Yeah.
yeah.
Plus, it was like I
Fuck
think
yeah,
it was
that's
like one
good
of
to
the
hear.
team captain's ideas or something that like first pitched it, and they were like under 18 and they were like
Mhm.
very young at the time. So
Very impressionable, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. I guess they probably thought like, man, what's the harm? Like, it's
no one's gonna know. It's not like anyone watches these damn matches, anyways, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
No one's gonna see.
at this point in time, like literally anybody can become a professional CS:GO player and like win huge tournaments as long as they drink Gamersupps at gamersupps.gg using code Misfits for 10% off. You too
That's it.
can become a pro player and throw your
Absolutely.
games for thousands of dollars and possibly ruin your career.
Pog.
Go to gamersupps.gg, code Misfits for
Not
10%
guaranteed.
off. It's good shit.
Remember that one time we were leaving that tournament and we saw, what was it? Who was that? We saw Stewie 2K.
Stewie.
Remember? Yeah. And he was
Yeah,
like, "Yo,
yeah.
Mason, you got some gamer subs?" And you're like, "Yeah, homie, here I got you out." And you handed him some gamer subs.
Yeah.
He's like, "Cheers, man, you're the best."
He railed
Love
a line
gamer
of that.
subs, Yeah.
Legal
No, that's-
disclaimer,
that's
that
a
didn't
lie.
happen.
That's a lie. We did see Stewie 2K.
We
though.
did see him. I think
am
what
sitting
didn't he
here.
ask
Yeah, he asked Mason
one of
for
us
like a dart. He's like, "Oh, you got
Yeah.
a dart?"
For a dart, yeah.
Asked Mason for a sig.
Oh yeah, that was when we were heading out back. We were leaving the event.
Well, that
We
was-
heading out back.
Was
That was
Stewie
after
2K?
they
Holy
won.
shit, what the fuck?
Right? That was like after they won, so I can only
Yeah.
imagine the adrenaline that he was fucking having. So he just wanted a
Yeah.
cigarette.
Oh my god, those clutches on the main stage in the final must
Oh,
be so
Jesus
tense as a pro.
Christ.
In any game, you know, in any game. But I imagine there's something about like with regular sports, I feel like maybe it's even easier to get immersed in the physical game that you're playing. But with esports, you're kind of just on a computer with so many people looking at you, you know, and you're on a stage.
Yeah,
and
but
there's
the lights are
and shit.
blinding,
Oh,
so you
is
really
that-
can't see the
Yeah.
audience.
They'll
and
say
there's-
like they'll even like feel like everyone's chanting like in a clutch situation. Everyone's like, "Oh, you like
Oh.
you'll feel that shit in your chest." you know?
yeah,
Yeah,
The
they
sound.
have soundproof booths, but surely you can feel the vibrations and,
Yeah.
and everything, right? Or
Do
at
they
least
have
pick up a little
soundproof
bit.
headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
supposed to. They'll have
assume.
like
Yeah,
little
they
like
have-
normal like just the small wired ones on underneath, and they'll have like bigger headphones like block out the noise on.
yeah. That way you
Like
can't
big
hear
old
the other
helicopter
team doing
ones.
comms, right?
Yeah.
But in some tournaments, you can see that they definitely can hear when the crowd gets really loud because you'll see like moments where a player's sneaking up behind someone about to knife them,
Yeah.
and then the crowd's going, "Oh,"
Yeah.
and then they'll turn around because they hear the crowd going, "Oh," and it's
Oh
like,
yeah, I
Oh,
heard like
what?
sometimes they'll just sit
Yeah.
there with like the mic key open, and then that way it's like the microphone will like pick it up, and then they can.
Oh, wow.
Esports almost feels like a fucking thing in the past this year because you've heard so little about it with COVID
Yeah.
ruining tournaments.
I
And
think
everything,
couldn't
right?
I
even
think
do it.
DreamHack in New York just happened, or I am New York, or whatever it is.
Did it?
Just
Huh.
now.
I
No
think it
shit.
just happened. I could be wrong. I could be making that up,
Hmm.
but
Well,
I definitely have not had my ear to the ground with it.
wasn't there some kind of division of like Riot Games like had to shut down an OCE, like Australia-based league? Didn't that?
Okay, I
Didn't
I think it was just
it was-
Riot
it was like legal-
Australia or OCE.
yeah,
pretty much.
it was
I'm not
something like
hugely
that. But
following Riot stuff, but yeah.
they completely shut down.
because of COVID.
Yeah, well,
Oh, wow.
for a lot of things, but I'm trying to remember. Whatever. But yeah, a lot. Fuck it. A lot
We're
of
not esports journalists.
a lot of you know different divisions of esports have taken like massive hits because of COVID, and I'm sure like sports in general has gone down, like NFL, like NBN, not
Yeah.
NBN, NBA.
No, that's gone down
whatever.
plenty
The
of
fucking
times.
basketball shit. I don't fucking
NBA.
watch basketball. I don't fucking.
NBA. Yeah, everywhere except New Zealand, where they're just fucking having rugby game after rugby game with stadiums packed full of people because they beat
Jesus.
COVID because they're a superior country.
Aren't the I swear it's either the NBA or the NFL or something. They're living in Disneyland.
What?
Like it's like the NBA. There's a bunch of NBA teams living inside the Disneyland resort in some city.
Just
it's
living in
com-
Cinderella's castle.
It's completely closed off, and it's like an NBA only area, and it's so that
Mm.
they aren't exposed to COVID. but they're still able to like do the games or something.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think like the
Interesting.
NBA's like got like COVID like really locked down. Like they don't have like any cases in like games or
They
anything.
fucking hijacked Disneyland. That's horrible.
I think Disneyland is still open, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they
So
opened
Really?
up recently.
all
Do
the
you remember?
there's no restrictions in Florida anymore. They lifted it all
Jesus.
because a lot of the states, Florida is one of the few states that doesn't have personal income tax, and a lot of their
Oh.
revenue comes from tourism. So it's in their best interest to have
Right.
everything open right now.
Dude, when they
Yeah,
shut
yeah.
down Disney World, and
Their best
all those
interest.
teenage white girls were posting on Instagram like, "Oh, there's no magic in the air." He's like, "Oh, no Disney World." It's like, "Oh my god, are you really this much of a fucking slave to a
Oh,
cartoon rat?"
there's plenty of magic in the air. It's
Like, come on.
it's called COVID.
Toby, do the quote. Do the quote.
What?
What was that one you did in the video? You're like, my creator is it?
Oh, yeah, yikes.
Yep.
The weird fucking Disney
Yes.
roots.
Oof.
Dude,
That's right.
Walt Disney was a fucking crazy ass person. He was trying to build a utopia before he died. That's what Epcot was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the
Epcot?
perfectly designed city.
Mm. Yeah, they had like monorails
I
and shit.
didn't
And that was
even-
back in like what, like the
Yeah.
70s or 80s or some shit. Like what the fuck?
I think it was the 60s. I think it was like
some
it was
old
like
shit like that. Yeah, it was like way ahead
it
of
was
its
like
time.
50s, 60s. They built it on his swamp.
Yeah,
What the
yeah.
hell is Epcot?
Epcot. EPCOT.
It's the one with it's got
It
like the big
stands-
white ball in the middle that looks like a
Yeah, the-
golf ball.
The
That's
giant.
Epcot.
Let me see what
Oh,
it
I don't know.
stands
Is that like
for.
a where? I've never even heard of that. I'm not American.
There's like 4 different parks. There's like what, Epcot,
Ah.
Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, and one other one.
Epcot stands for the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. So Walt Disney was eating tabs of acid for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But he had the right idea. I mean, if he managed to actually like pull off Epcot and like make this new age futurism type city that
Yeah,
would be
look at
like
this shit. That looks
amazing.
so futuristic. Imagine seeing that back in like the
Yeah, I'm
70s
looking
or
at it.
some shit.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this was like the 1960s, an experimental concept. There was a video I watched not too long ago.
Oh,
that, like,
1982 is when it opened, apparently.
yeah,
Like the public.
like there was this video I watched a while back, but it explains like what Epcot was meant to be like in its entirety. They pulled up like plans and like maps and like systems and all these different things, and in the way that Walt was going to put it together was like fucking pretty insane. But then he died, and then got his body frozen in liquid nitrogen, so that he could
Oh,
be reanimated in the
look at
future.
that looks like so futuristic. Imagine seeing that shit back then.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
really-
guess it came from that. Like, was this being like thought of in the 70s, 80s, that sort of time? Like,
This-
that was sort of a period
Yeah.
with very grandiose visions for the future.
Yeah, 50 and
of, like,
60s was
Yeah.
like futurism was like their
Yeah.
big thing.
I guess because there was just such a massive technological boom.
It's a
at that
space
point.
race. It was because of rockets, because we landed
Space
on the moon.
race, Yeah. And so everyone's like, "Oh wow, we're gonna be living on the moon together in like 20 years. It's gonna be awesome." Like everyone thought, like the year 2000 would have hoverboards and.
Nah,
fucking-
dude. The Soviet Union collapsed, and then America was like, fuck the moon. Well, it's just a fucking dumb rock in the sky. We already
Just
put
a
our flag
dumb
there.
rock.
Fuck it. But now
Yeah, that-
Elon's
like,
like,
literally
"Ooh, I
post-nut
could
clarity,
do
but
my
for-
futuristic city on Mars. And now everyone's like,
"That's the new
"Mm,
shiny thing."
Yeah.
Until we set foot on every planet, they're going to be desirable to us, you know. Then we set
Yeah.
foot on them.
Except
we
for
get the
Jupiter.
post-nut clarity of like, oh,
We're Saturn.
we've done that now. Yeah, well,
What if
Yeah.
what's
What
the
even
gas
happened
on
if you stand-
Jupiter just gets you like really, really high?
just fucking go down to the atmosphere, take off your helmet,
Just
fucking
hot box in Jupiter.
just get like
It's just the best drug in the world, just a good hit of Jupiter.
No,
You know,
no,
it's
no. Jupiter's
uncomparable.
bad. It makes you stupider.
Oh yeah, he's
True.
right. It kills your brain cells.
Yeah.
It's actually very dangerous. Don't do Jupiter, kids.
Yeah,
Don't go to
Yeah.
Jupiter.
that's
go
why.
to Mars.
Gross,
Just get
super
candy
sad.
bars.
Yeah.
Right?
What if everyone just occupied a little rock in the orbit of Saturn? You know,
Everyone's
a
just
little
sitting on
house
a rock.
We're in the Saturn's ring, just rotating around. How about that, Mace? Would you live on Saturn? One of Saturn's rocks?
It'd be pretty like cramped, wouldn't it?
That'd be like a flex.
Nah, those
bro.
rocks are plenty big. Get yourself a couple acres up there, you know. We'll get you a
Yeah,
big
have
rock.
like your own private rock.
All the poor
That's
people can
like
have the
better than
small
having a
rocks.
private
We'll get
yacht.
you a big one.
Can I grow my can Can I grow my own trees there? And
No, you can't grow anything. It's just a rock.
Not fertile at all. It's
gonna-
loosely
You-
held
You take
together.
what you want with you, and that's all you're getting.
I'm gonna live on the underside of the rock, and then it's like I'm living under a rock.
Mm.
the
But
most
which way is
exciting
up?
thing you'd be able to
Yeah,
do
what the
there is you wouldn't be able to do much, like play golf or some shit.
Well, I'd visit you from my rock.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can play baseball and hit a ball into orbit.
You could get 3 rocks and put a rope swing between 2 of them.
Mm.
You can like bring someone home from like the bar. It's like, hey, you want to come back to my private rock? You know, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be impressive if everyone's got a private rock, you know?
True.
true.
Yeah,
And then they're like
you
really
just-
close to each other, right? You got like asshole neighbors or some shit. He gets too close, you just gotta like fucking push him away or something. Then he goes like flying off into space.
The year is like 2100, and like you're at a bar, and you're like, hey, where are you from? And some guy just goes, oh, I'm from Iraq. You're like, oh, Iraq? He's like, no, Iraq. It's in
Iraq.
Saturn rings. You're like, oh, okay.
I see.
Yeah.
I used to live there. Yeah, back in the old fucking. I was gonna make a joke where like, where, like only the poor people live in Saturn's orbit, but I just decided let's move away from that concept because I don't want to share my ideas too early. But when you were saying private rock earlier, Matt, just made me imagine like how funny it is that the word private just makes anything sound more exclusive.
Yeah, it's
like,
private
someone-
rock.
Someone takes you home and like, oh yeah, this is my private home. You're like, what do you mean private? Yeah, it's like privately owned. It's mine. It's like, I guess like it makes me feel like is it public some of the time? Like no.
It's just mine.
private
It's
home.
just mine.
It's my private car, my private dog. This is my private wife.
This is my private parts.
Yeah, it's
And this is
private.
my private cock. Would you like to see? Park my private cock in your private garage. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
Swing.
Mason, what's new? Tell me one good thing that's happened to you recently. Not off to a good start, mate. Fucking not off to a good start with that one.
It's like looking around.
I don't want to leave.
Oh, bed still works. Yeah, that's pretty decent. But what'd you say?
No, not much. Not much at all.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think.
That's right. How's brother Kobe doing?
Yeah, he's swell.
Brother Kobe.
That's good.
Is he a priest?
Brother
Hello,
Kobe.
brother
He's
Kobe.
joined a monastery.
Yeah, he's alright. Streaming and shit. Not much else going on down in Geelong.
Nice. Yeah, I saw a cute Instagram story from Kobe of you with the dogs. Is it you remember the dogs again?
Yeah, fuck Earth. Yeah, I miss them.
Nice. So nice having Slime and Pepsi back. Ryan's
Oh
dogs.
yeah,
Oh,
they're huge.
Oh, is it when
They're
when
so
Ryan left
fat
for
now.
Adelaide?
Well, big, but still. And it's mostly slime. Slime's fat. He's gotten big. He's gotten
Yeah.
big.
I manage Ryan has these 2 dogs, one of which is more recent, called Pepsi. And when Ryan left for Adelaide for a few months, Pepsi was tiny. He was still a little pup,
Puppy.
really, wasn't he? And they've just come back. We haven't seen them in so long. And fuck, these dogs are big. They're just massive. The other day, like obviously Ryan came back, so I ate a fuck ton of edibles. This was completely
Natural.
like completely fucked. Even the next day, apparently everyone who ate them was. And I remember waking up on Ryan's couch in the morning and like Pepsi came up and for a cuddle, but Pepsi's kind of a shit cunt. Like he doesn't really cuddle you. He just kind of wants to lick your face, and like he'll stay there if you let him lick your face. But he just kind of came up to me. He like laid. I was on my side. He laid on his side, facing me with his paws up, like out, pressed against my body. It kind of like hurt and was uncomfortable. And then I tried petting him, and he just started like literally just fucking licking my face from bottom to top, just over and over again. And I was like, dude, you fucking not broken. We just like
Yeah.
chill. And then he left the cunt. He just fucking left.
Well,
If you don't let him lick your face, then what
licks you
reason
and
is that to
leaves.
fucking stay,
Yeah.
I suppose?
Do you remember, like, they had this like little like wooden dowel that was a part of a flagpole, like just some kind of Australian flag thing. And so they had this wooden dowel, and they're letting Slime and Pepsi like bite it at the same time, and they're playing with it or whatever. And Manuel is moving the fucking the dowel around, and then Pepsi grabs it, and he fucking deep throats this fucking wooden dowel, and then Manuel pulls it out of his mouth, and he just fucking throws up all over the
Oh.
fucking all over the giant beanbag.
Beanbag.
No.
He throws up all over it. And earlier that day, they fucking pissed on it. So it's off to a great start having the dogs back.
After a great fucking stuff. Yeah. dogs be like that. Dogs be like, I'll piss and shit and vomit wherever I want. You know, that's how it is.
Dogs be like, if I can't lick your face, I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah, true, man. Like, he's just a dog that knows what he wants.
He just likes a good
signed up
one
for
night
face
stand,
licking.
you know. He's like,
It's what he paid for.
Yeah.
Clearly, I wasn't ready for the investment, and
Yeah.
fucking off he went. No more face for me, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all right. Next time I'll get him back by licking his face. Well, he's trying to sleep.
He's coming here, start licking on him.
He'd probably love it. Probably wouldn't even fucking be mad.
Are you guys excited for
Damn, I
tomorrow?
can't win with this dog.
What's
for the stream.
tomorrow?
Why? Is the world ending?
All right, the Crunker stream.
The Crunker stream.
Bro,
the
these
two
campaign.
Would be good.
So, to raise
I-
charity for kids affected with cancer. 12 to 25-year-olds, actually.
Yep.
I don't have to.
I,
I don't have to stream, do I? I can just play.
No, I'm
right?
pretty sure everyone has to stream.
Yeah, everyone has to stream.
Oh.
I feel the same way, Mason. Don't worry about it. I feel the exact same way. It's all right.
It's all right.
We'll get through
It's,
it. By
it's
the time
only
this
2
airs, I suppose
hours.
the
It's only
tournament-
2.5 hours.
Just ignore your
Ugh.
chat, and then it's just like you're doing the same thing, but without streaming.
Yeah, put on
Yeah.
sub-only mode.
I suppose. Alright.
Yeah, but yeah. By the time this airs, I guess this whole ordeal will have happened. So
True.
you can check out the VODs or whatever.
Surely we won by
yeah,
then, right?
fucking-
Surely we don't lose.
Surely we would've
I
won by
am
then.
pretty sure we're gonna win.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's
I've
pretty
heard-
pretty
me on the
stacked,
team.
mate.
I was
Hate
about to say, I've heard Fitz and Swagger are very good, and we have some Crunker streamers in our team too,
We have Hey, I'm Zed.
and he's pretty good too.
How's it go? Is
So-
it like a death match or is it kind of like CS?
It's
Or is it
various
just-
different game modes.
Okay.
For
cool.
people who don't know what Crunker is, we've spoken about it a couple times, I'm sure, but it's basically very similar to CS:GO, but it's not. It's CS:GO, but it's also they ripped off Minecraft, so it's like this great little like
CS:GO
I'm just kidding.
Minecraft. Pretty
It's
much.
basically it's like a cartoony flash game, but basically with a similar concept of the shooter game like Counter-Strike. It's just a really fun, easy game. You can play it on your browser. We're not sponsored by them or anything. But we do know the devs, and we've met with them in the past, and they're great guys, and we've sort of been casually fans of their game for fucking ages. And now Misfits is, I guess, dipping its toes in the esports with this little like
Yeah.
little tournament thing we're hosting. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
This is the
Fun to
first
see.
of many that are going to
Hopefully.
happen over the next
Yes.
couple of months, hopefully. But
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Yeah,
that's right. If you are looking for a game to play on the school computers without getting caught by the teachers,
It's not
then
banned,
Crunker's
it's
probably the way to
yeah.
go.
You can play it in
Yeah,
your browser, or you can download
crunker.io.
a client.
Yeah, it's crunker.io. Enter. It takes 2 seconds to load, and there you go. You're fucking.
Yeah, it starts with a K. Krunker. Crunker.
Yeah, that's how you know it's cool.
The Misfits have been playing Crunker for fucking ages.
Over like a year and a half now. Do you remember being in like Ryan's old house? We'd be in the den when it was still like a trap house. And we'd just take dabs and put on gamer music and just fucking go for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
It was fucking
That's
amazing.
yeah. Yup, that is happening. That is good. Toby, are you sponsored by Rainbow Six Siege? What the fuck's up with that cap?
I just like the cap. I think it looks good on me.
Did they send you a little box with a figurine and stuff in it and a bunch of?
Did
like, a
you get one
controller
too?
or something? I got one like last year.
Oh yeah, so
think it's just a
I got that
creator
one
pack they
last year
send out.
too, but this year they sent it's a Halloween thing. So they sent
Ah.
like
Oh.
some candy and a headset.
How cute.
And the box is furry, which was weird.
Right on.
It hasn't come
That's-
with red sand this time.
No,
right?
no red sand this
Oh,
time.
I remember
Yeah.
that. That shit was funny ass.
Yeah,
But-
we got
Red
a
sand?
box. Yeah, we had a box come to the Misfits house when we had it like a year and a half ago. And it was to be for like the new operation, which was like Operation Red Sand or something like that. But the box, like, it was a big crate, and they open it up, there's a bunch of shit in there. But the bottom of it is like all red sand. And the thing is, like, I think it wouldn't have been as messy if they didn't decide to also send beer.
Oh yeah, like the beers
because
broke open. I think.
in transit, like 2 beer bottles collided and fucking shattered. So there was beer over everything in the container
Fucking red sand.
and
mixed with
shards
beer.
of glass.
Beer,
It-
glass shards, and red sand.
To be
What else
fair
do you need?
though, it is fucking sick that as a game company, they're sending
Oh.
creators fucking
Oh
alcohol.
yeah, absolutely. It does.
That's
come
so
out.
cool.
It's funny as
Who
fuck.
does
though,
that?
you gotta admit.
You know?
It's because they know it results in the better content. That's why.
Yeah, I'm not hating. I'm just saying it's
No,
funny.
Rainbow Six-
the fucking beer shattered.
Rainbow Six has the best PR packages.
Oh yeah.
I've got a mouse, I've got a keyboard, I've got a headset.
What the fuck?
Yeah, over time I've just been collecting a bunch of Rainbow Six shit.
Yeah, they do do a good job, Rainbow Six, and their game is good as too. I don't know why I fucking could never find myself getting invested in that shit. I think it was just at the time when I was so burnt out from Counter Strike, and Rainbow Six was just a little too similar. You know what I mean?
It's like Counter Strike, but more
Do you still-
complicated. There's like more gadgets and
yeah,
shit.
yeah. It's
also
like if you're already sick of
hero-based.
Counter Strike, learning another
Yeah.
game that's like got all these
It's
other
Counter Strike,
things.
more steps and
it's like,
gadgets. I'm like, bro, I can't do this, man.
yeah.
Even
yeah.
Valorant
Minecraft.
is a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, that's
Valorant
everyone.
is
Like,
just
I like Counter Strike and I like Overwatch, and everyone likes to say it's like Counter Strike and Overwatch combined, but like, I like playing either of those games because they're not each other. You know?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
well, I
don't
don't want
think,
like the worst parts of
combining is
both.
the
The fuck?
best. Yeah.
Some things don't need to make a baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Mason's parents. You know.
Ah.
Oh, fuck.
So rude.
Too real.
Wow.
Apologize now.
Jesus.
I'm sorry, Mason. I'm sorry, Mason.
Oh,
Mason, do you forgive me for that one? Sorry, it's just I could have said that about anyone. I don't know why I had to
Like
go
something.
on
I was just about to say
Mason
myself.
being
Like something shouldn't make a baby. I'm like, yeah, like myself.
like myself.
look, just use me as the scapegoat. I'm the abomination, all right?
You're
it's
right.
just an
You're-
easy,
you are
you know,
abomination.
You know it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, pick on the trans person.
Yeah.
It's acceptable. in
Come
2020.
on, it's all about equality now.
Exactly.
Look, I'm just trying to bring Mace into the conversation by insulting the very fiber of his being. You know, like why not? Come on, give me something back. Give me something back, Mace.
I got nothing.
Call him a
mate.
dirty
I got
dog.
nothing.
You know why? It's because I'm fucking
That's
perfect.
dog of the
that's why.
day. That's an easy dog of the day, man.
I can't roast people anymore, man. I suck at roasting. It's usually just a fuck you.
You gotta
or
play more
like-
Rust, mate. Get back on like that. You gotta embrace that inner toxicity of that game. You know.
Yeah, I suppose.
I hate what Rust does to me whenever I play it. I become like a person that I detest. Like I get so like the last session that we did, me and Mason that we recorded was pretty decent. But like any session before that, I'd be playing, like if it was solo, I'd be playing, and then by the end, like I had smashed my right hand onto my desk to the point where it's numb. And I'm just like fucking foaming at the mouth, so angry and so tilted. I'll fucking turn it off. I hate what it does to me. It makes me so fucking mad.
Yeah, yeah. You are definitely subject to gamer rage, Swagger.
Yeah,
You can be
it
quite a-
depends.
quite a
You
gamer
know,
rager.
it's
Just drink
one
more
thing.
gamer subs and get better at the game. Then you won't rage. Like,
You
it's
know,
not that
I
hard,
feel
man.
like I get more mad at like a game if like I have an investment that I put into it, and especially when it's Rust. If I'm going
Oh,
into a
yeah.
session with the idea of recording a video, like I'm pretty much putting my day like completely to this Rust session. And whenever I would make a Rust video, it would be like 6, 7, 8 hours of straight like recording to get like a story, to get like an arc, to get like, you know, something entertaining. But there would be a point where I've sunk in 4 fucking hours, and like I'd be doing something that's integral to this story that like I've started to build, and then I just get fucking shot in the head with a bolty, and then like, oh well, I can't fucking go back, like I'm gone. Like 4 hours has been wasted, and I think I'm more upset at the loss of my day and the loss of my time than I am at the
Yeah,
fact that
yeah.
I died in the game. It's like a different kind of emotional distress.
I guess that investment's really what it always comes down to, right? Because it's the same with like esportsy games like Counter Strike or whatever. Like if you've been playing all night and you're trying to end on a good note, but you've lost your last 3 games and you just want to fucking win, and then you still lose that 4 a.m. game, that's
Yeah.
enough to tilt anyone, man. Because it's like, man, I could have just gone to bed at 12 and been happy, but here I am, just immensely frustrated at 4 in the morning, and I still can't get a fucking win. I still can't get my elo back. God damn it. I guess that that's. It's a blessing and a curse, right? Because those experiences are also what makes the game fucking fun.
Well, yeah.
It's that,
Yeah.
Pulls you
it's
in.
that, yeah, it's the highs and the lows. It's that the wins and the losses.
Mason, how
what
is
a
your
beautiful
tattoo
sentiment.
removal going?
Yeah, not bad. They're fucking.
How painful is it?
Oh, it's top 10 worst pain I've ever felt
Wow.
for sure. But like,
Fucking hell.
it just sucks because like last time I had to get it, I had like a mask on while I was doing it, so like, I felt like I was gonna pass out. So like,
Yeah.
I kind of like pulled the mask down just like
Be able to breathe.
So I could
Deal with the
breathe,
pain.
Yeah.
Because
What does
so
the pain feel like?
I guess it feels like if you had a lighter up to your skin, but like just the tip of the
Ooh.
flames touching you,
Oh,
kind of like that.
So it's just like a
It's like having the flame close
faint
to you.
burn,
Faint burn, yeah.
but it's still enough of a burn to be like, fuck, that's constantly discomforting.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah. Because
How
like,
long does
I
it
feel
last? Like the sessions?
It depends how big the tattoo is, but they just trace over it.
mm-hmm.
Right.
But-
How many sessions have you had?
I've had 2, so I've still got to go for like 6 more.
Wow.
Yeah. You're lucky that you don't have many tattoos. Could be a
Yeah,
lot
I
worse.
know. Yeah, cool.
Oh my god, you see those clips of like the before and after? People are like completely like covered up, like body tats, face tats, and then like clean in the next photo. I can't even imagine how long that takes.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're
Yeah.
getting it, I don't know if it's just me, but like your body just twitches.
Mm.
Like you kind of like shake a lot. I don't know.
What do you do during the sessions? Do you just lie there, or do you?
You just lie in a
read, or
chair.
you
You just lie in a
listen to
chair,
podcasts,
and
or-
like they do wherever the tattoo is. And
Surely they like offer you a beer or a drink or something, right? Kind of like a barbershop. Like shit, if you can drink a beer
Nah.
having a fucking your hair cut, surely you can get one or you're getting your painful
I don't
tattoos
think
removed.
you're able. I don't think you're able to drink a beer or anything while you're getting that shit done.
Yeah.
They actually just hurl
Torture
insults
that.
at you. It's like a whole humiliation thing. They're just like, yeah, you like that, you fucking little bitch.
Jesus.
Like,
I think-
You're a
constantly
psychopathic of a
burning.
tattoo removal artist today. I learned.
I think they say sugar's good. Like if you have a little bit of sugar, well, if you're gonna be sitting somewhere where you're gonna be in pain for a while, if you have like something sugary that you can just snack on. Like when I go to my sleeve sessions, I bring like a bag of some sort of candies, and then I'll just like snack on them as I'm getting it
Well,
done.
sure. Really just helps because it's just a nice distraction, you know. It's just
That's
like
true.
a
It might
nice
be that.
mouth sensation while you're enjoying your.
I just imagine you sitting
Yeah.
down to get tattoos removed and you're just shoveling spoonfuls of sugar into your mouth.
And crying and saying,
Stop.
a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Just shoveling spoonful after spoonful of raw sugar. You're just chewing on the cane.
The worst part about tattoos, in my opinion, and removal, I assume is similar, is just like the time it takes. Like the pain isn't that bad, but sitting there 4 or 5 hours in constant pain is pretty bad.
It's like getting your eyebrows tweezed.
Especially because I never do anything to entertain myself. I always just sit there and I'll talk to the artist, but I never like. Some people bring headphones and they'll watch movies or something or listen to a podcast, but like, I feel awkward doing that. It feels like then the tattoo artist is just sitting there in silence the whole time, and I'm like, well, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, but isn't it kind of like just one of those things you get over, like talking to your Uber driver or something, where it's just like you. I remember when Uber first came out, I felt that way every time I got into a car with an Uber driver.
Yeah, now
Like,
it's
"Oh,
weird
this
if they
is
talk
new,"
to you.
and
Like,
like,
what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, but it's.
yeah,
I
no,
feel like it's different
well, you
because
know, I still chat to them, but
with a tattoo artist, they're like stuck in a room with you for like 5 hours straight. And if they're just sitting there the whole time not talking, it might feel a bit shitty. I don't know. Unless you have an
it can
agreement
also
with the
suck being a
artist
tattoo.
and you both wear
Yeah.
headphones and you both like just do your own thing the whole time. I don't know.
I would definitely talk. I wouldn't just like go there without saying
Yeah.
anything first and just like
Yeah.
headphones on. But I would be like, because you never know. Maybe it sucks for them being the tattoo artist and they're locked in a conversation with this boring cunt that just happens to want a tattoo.
that's
You
true.
know, like,
Bring a switch or
but I get
Ooh.
it. Ooh, switch could be good. Yeah. Mason, what's the massive tattoo you're getting to celebrate getting your tattoos removed?
A Rust tattoo on my ass logo.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Nah,
So
I
just the
would've-
Rust
I would
logo.
have done that if I had no tattoos at all. Like dead ass. I reckon I would have.
You would have gone the
Dead
Rust
ass.
Inspired
tattoo?
by Chad. Fucking Chad.
lots of
Would you have
people
gotten that one removed?
lots of people get something
reckon?
big and dumb on their ass. Cuz why not?
Fuck it. May
Ass
as well.
tat.
Yeah.
I like the name of it. Got a ring to it.
What's the weirdest thing to get tattooed on your ass?
Another ass.
Another ass, but just slightly smaller.
Yeah. And then on that
That's-
ass, there's a tattoo of another ass. And it just keeps incepting.
What if you just got your ass covered in asshole tattoos? So that was just confusing for when anyone tries to fuck you. It's like, well, it's a very
Ew.
elaborate ass you have
Put-
here. It's many choices.
Put fucking knock before entering it.
One of my
Not
friends
before entering.
was saying that I should get a tattoo of a penis, like somewhere on my body, like just a cute little, I don't know, cartoon penis or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could be like, yeah, this is the only dick I've got on my body, or something
No, I
like
still
that.
got my dick. Look, it's right here.
And you can just make jokes about it, you know.
Hey, you want to see my cock?
I shrunk him and I put him on my skin.
And then you can send dick pics.
True.
True.
Yo, it's got my dick touched up today. Check this shit out. Yo, those lines are looking clean. Shading.
Dick touched up. It's got my dick shaded and colored today, actually, believe it or not.
I wonder what a cell shaded penis would look like. Ew.
I mean, have to fucking look up some.
Certainly, there's a Google
What's the
image
game?
for that.
Borderlands Rule 34 will give you the.
There
answer.
That's
you go.
true. There's probably heaps of it.
Oh, undoubtedly so.
Yikes.
Undoubtedly. Yep.
What's your guys' favorite single player game ever? Like favorite single player game you played?
Oof.
Hmm.
That's a hard one.
I mean,
Minecraft.
I've just been. Yeah, does that count though?
That's
'Cause,
also
like, would you
multiplayer.
enjoy Minecraft to the extent you did if it wasn't multiplayer as well? Probably not.
I don't know.
Though you were big into it in your teens though.
I was
so it's
I
not
was
big when
huge
I
into
was-
it.
But weren't you kind of like a server dweller though back in your teenage years? I don't know if you even want to talk about
Probably not, but you know, I did go on to servers and shit. But you know, single player was most of the fun, mods and all
Interesting.
that. I mean,
I just feel like
Minecraft's
your
one of the best
judgment is
games of all
skewed.
time. So like,
it. Yeah, but
if
I would
that's
argue that
if that's a cop out answer,
because
then I
multiplayer.
could do another one.
What's
Okay,
up?
let me
Dark
rephrase
Souls.
it to.
I'd say
Look at my
Dark Souls.
Steam.
Okay.
Thank you guys for watching. We worked on terraforming today. So we're probably gonna be working on terraforming tomorrow. I just wanted to build this. This is the gas station in Road Anthony, and it looks pretty nice actually from the Minecraft point. Actually look at this for example. This is what it looks like right here. And I'll just put it side by side. And add the display in the middle display. There we go. Let's see, right here. For example, from this side, you have right here. This is actually let's zoom in a little bit. And it looks about right. It needs some blue on this area right here. You need to actually put the Liberty sign. But yeah, that's the gas station I worked on today, and hopefully we'll finish it up tomorrow, and then we'll work on some more terraforming, and we'll build in this general area, and we'll expand outward. Hopefully we can get terraforming for Road Anthony, which is a really small town actually. If you look at on the map, you can see how small this is. It only takes up to about right in this area, which is very, very small. Mostly just houses and trailers. A little bit of city areas and like museums and stuff, but overall it's just houses. This should be like the next Cramerton in my opinion. This is what it's gonna be like. Just a small little towny thing that I worked really hard on and made it basically 1-to-1. I actually been here several times, so and I actually walked all the way up and down the coastline in my bare feet in the middle of August, and it was very fun. I walked all the way up to this area, and it's basically wilderness. There's nothing out here pretty much. The only way you really should access is by boat. But there's like, see all this area around here that goes along the coastline? Well, when it's at low tide, this actually comes out in solid land. There's like, it's just hard rock, sand, and it's gray. It's cool. Well, anyways, I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video. Eat a sandwich, drink some milk, chew bubble gum, go skydiving, and modify your Subaru. Anyways, thank you guys for